There's no one watching anyway.
Live. The people at home didn't quite hear you say you were going for a poo. But you were going for a poo.
No. Dear Fortean Words viewers, I may duck out for a poo at some time. Write into BBC Points of View, Shepherd's Bush, and
Barry
say,
Tuck.
I think
Do you
Hobbit
remember
ducked
Barry
out.
Tuck, Ian?
Yeah, little fat bloke with glasses, yeah. Dead now.
I bet Interdimensional Lizard remembers Barry Tuck. I think Interdimensional Lizard is somebody who lives outside of time and space.
Points of View with Barry Tuck.
You're familiar with snooker. Who's that snooker player with the thick glasses?
Ian Taylor, I already told you.
Oh, right.
Ian Taylor. Yeah, Ian Taylor. The snooker player, Ian Taylor. That's the one.
Yeah.
Ian Taylor snooker.
Ian Taylor.
Is it Ian Taylor? I know it's Taylor.
Ian. Yeah,
It is
Ian Taylor.
Oh, well, you'd remember.
Ian Taylor.
Is he any relation
Dennis
to Alan
Taylor,
Taylor?
isn't it?
Because that's the
Dennis
first
Taylor.
thing that comes up.
I don't know of it. Well, I don't know his family tree to hand.
Well, you should do. You should know about this stuff.
The only family tree we have to hand would be Willie Moulton Marston's.
Ah, yes. What
The
does
man.
he know about snooker? What is he not telling us? So Ian Taylor.
Sounds like he sunk a few reds in his time, the dirty boy.
Yeah.
So Ian Taylor is a footballer. He's also a British businessman.
He meant Dennis Taylor.
Dennis
Dennis
that's it.
Taylor.
I knew Ian weren't right, but I don't know where it came from.
Northern Irish former snooker player.
Yes.
Yeah, he potted the brown with a long pink.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, those are his glasses.
And he was in the snooker loop.
Taylor's over. Oh, I
Yep.
see. His oversized glasses were designed for his. Yeah, because you know that thing when they do the funny angles and craning the neck. That makes sense now.
I don't know why he nicked Deirdre Barlow's spectacles and wore them upside down for, though.
Because that helps him play snooker.
Oh.
It means like, yeah. If you ever wear
was Deirdre
specs,
Barlow good at snooker then?
well,
She was good at having affairs, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Around
with
a bit.
Well, I'd
Samir.
like to know
Was it Samir? It was the and then the airline pilot that got locked up, and Tony Blair thought TV programs were real, so he interceded on her behalf.
She had an affair
I do
with
wish
Mike.
to
Baldwin.
apologise for a bit of sexism here, but why is there a female snooker league? Why don't they just play in the professional men's league? Why is there distinction in sexes there? Could it be
I don't
some
mind that.
difference?
I don't mind that female referee. Do you remember her, Ian?
Michaela Tabb, yeah.
Yeah.
And also there's a
blimey.
new one, isn't there?
What's that?
There's a blonde one as well. She's quite nice, yeah.
Oh, nice. Is she
So-
good at her job, or is she
They
just good
don't-
at bending over the table?
Well, I'd give her a good job.
You'd sink the red, would you, with her?
Yeah, I think the long pink.
The long, would
Into
you go for the
her
long pink or
brow.
the long brown, Ian?
Well, I go for the long pink and then I take the long brown.
Was that FHM pink or brown? Do you remember? When they'd
I'm not sure.
ask various
FHM.
loose women whether they preferred pink or brown.
Oh right, well,
Yeah.
that was in the Lad Mag era, wasn't it, of the
Yeah, it
90s?
Do you remember that? Do you remember that when blokes could have fun anywhere, out in
Yeah.
the street?
Do you remember the 90s Hobbit?
in the pub?
Hobbit?
Where
Do you remember when
everything-
people could have fun? Hobbit? Do you remember that?
I remember when I was told off for having fun in a pub. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the entertainment industry."
You used to say, "Wehey" a lot, didn't
Yeah.
you? Wehey.
Wehey.
And all men were
Excuse
into
me,
drinking
bar steward woman. Could you please direct me to the library? This is a bit too
Right.
boisterous for my
No,
liking.
I'm in the library. Could you direct me to a pub?
Yeah. I like football and birds, I do.
Is COVID attracted to laughter? Is that what it was?
Yes, that's
Just time
it.
has moved on.
Yeah.
And also, do you remember COVID?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we did the thing where when you're standing up you have to wear a mask, but when you're sat down it's okay to take it off?
Yeah.
Do you remember the orchestra players
Yeah.
who'd have like masks, but they cut holes out so they could blow on their flute?
Remember Rubik Cube? What were all that about?
Yeah.
And
There's people
things we used to
still
do.
doing-
Fax machines,
Edins.
bollocks more like. Do you remember a little
Hey,
bit of Fry and Laurie? Do you remember that, Ian?
Remember Dad's dancing at weddings? What were all that about?
Oh,
Fax machines, Fry and Laurie. I can't remember that,
Do you
but I do
remember
remember
Baby
Fry and Laurie
Shower?
was good.
Baby
Yeah,
Shower.
Baby
Do you
Shower.
remember Baby Shower? Do you
What were
remember
all
when
that
do you
about?
remember
people used to
buffets?
know
Do you remember
what...
buffets at wedding? Hold on a minute, we've turned into Peter Kay. What's going on here?
Hey, isn't
I
it?
thought it was trying to...
All that about.
I was trying to do a Stuart Lee bit, but
the rappers.
we don't have 2 hours.
You know the rappers.
I was going to say,
you know the rappers.
On the top of the
we
pop.
don't
I saw
have
them
2
on the
hours
top
to
of the
belabor
pops.
the point.
They run around. They run around shopping malls and run up and down escalators and the rappers.
Yeah.
You know the
You
rappers.
see them on the.
They
you see them
sing
on
in their songs.
the top of the
rappers do.
pops. They were on the
rap
top of the
singers.
pops.
Sorry,
weren't
they're
they?
not the rappers, are they? The rap singers, aren't they? The rap singers. You know the rap singers.
The rap singers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Dom is there. You coming on, Dom?
Yeah.
You can join in.
You
He's in the
can-
chat.
You can talk to us.
I don't
You
know.
can talk to us about this
Do
whole
you
Yeah.
curve we're going to talk about.
I don't know anything about it, so
So I thought we'll start with the main
And we
Wonder
can-
Woman. We'll start with the creation of Wonder Woman because we don't need to know her history because it's not really. In an October 1940 interview with the Family Circle magazine, do you remember the Family Circle magazine? Do you remember it? The Family Circle magazine.
yeah, from the top of the pops.
You remember
Is it from the top of the pops?
circling around the drain?
Do you remember
Family
actually? Do
Circle?
you remember Family Circle? You should see him in like the barbers or the doctors. It was more like the doctors, weren't it?
I remember
Yeah.
reading my girlfriend's Cosmopolitan thing, and I was just like,
You
wow,
dirty
this is-
bastard.
Well,
We're
this is
not
just
were
looking
trying
at
to
the
encourage
lingerie
women to be
page.
slags. What's going on here?
Yes. It's literally like anal sex. Why aren't you doing it?
why aren't you having a train run on you like normal girls are?
20 tips on how to give your boyfriend a blowjob, except now we call them partners.
Yeah.
This is my business partner. Also, he's my lover. His name is Ronald.
Ronald, my life
How to play the pink oboe.
So, in an interview for Family Circle magazine, William Moulton Marston discussed the unfulfilled potential of the comic book medium, and he thought, you know what, there's just not enough chicks in it. This article caught the attention of comics publisher Max
hang on.
Gaines,
Let's hear him out. I
Who
think
hi-
Mr. Marston's onto something here.
who hired Marston as an educational consultant for national periodicals and all-American publications, two of the companies that were merged to form DC Comics. At the time, Marston wanted to create his own new superhero. Marston's wife and fellow psychologist, Elizabeth, suggested to him that it should be a woman. This is what William Moulton Marston... I don't know whether he's like a power bottom or something, because there's something really like... I can't use that word. There's something really like... henpecked about him. I'll use that word instead, I'll say. William Moulton
Frustrated.
Marston, a psychologist already famous for inventing the polygraph, struck upon an idea for a new kind of superhero, one who would triumph not with fists or power or firepower, but with love. Fine, said Elizabeth, but make her a woman.
Yeah.
So is this... He's not like the United States answer to Sir Joseph Paxton.
He might be of it, because are you gonna tell us about what was it? The other stuff he invented.
Well, has he invented an alternative to the Cavendish banana? Also, I was looking at fruits and their origins. Black cherries come from North America, but did you know they've got a fruit they're called a pawpaw? It's
Yeah,
not
I
a
think, remember the
papaya.
Paw
It's
Paw Bears? That was a cartoon when I was a kid.
No, I don't
Imagine
actually.
like teddy bears, but they're Red Indians.
Oh, that makes sense because you know pawpaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the Paw Paw Bears.
It's commonly referred to as the custard apple or soursop.
Soursop. A soursop sounds like a really deadly sounds like
This is
a really fatal insult that Victorian would deliver. You sir are a soursop.
This is a fruit that Mr. Marston may well have consumed in his lifetime as a North American. Well-known tropical fruits of different genera in the family Annonciae include the custard apple, the cherry moya, sweet sop, ylang ylang, and soursop.
Ylang ylang.
Yep.
Ylang ylang ylang. Marston introduced the idea to Gaines. Given the go-ahead, Marston developed Wonder Woman, whom he believed to be a model of that era's unconventional liberated woman. See feminist. Feminist 304. Marston also drew inspiration from the bracelets worn by Olive Byrne, who lived with the couple in a polyamorous relationship. Wonder Woman debuted in All-Star Comics number 8, cover date December-January 1941-1942. Released in October 1941, so not really confusing at all. So released it in October, but it was December-January's edition. Scripted by Marston. Marston was the creator of a systolic blood pressure measuring apparatus, which we can talk about that later a bit. Do you want to nerd out?
I would be happy to talk about it, because blood pressure is one of those things I don't really understand.
Which was crucial to the development of the polygraph, the lie detector. Marston's experience with polygraphs convinced him that women were more honest than men in certain situations and could work more efficiently. This kind of reminds me of. Do you remember Species? Where they go, we made it one because women are more docile, and that woman.
She was.
Oh dear, geezer.
She was hot.
Most.
Someone's joined
the
in.
most
That's
pro-feminist.
Dom's heavy breathing.
Thing I've read was
like a motherfucker.
And is Norman Collier in?
Not yet.
Yeah.
That's when he gets more and more drunk.
He's no Dennis.
Do that.
He's no more Dennis Taylor, that's for sure.
Marston designed Wonder Woman to be an allegory for the ideal love leader, the kind of woman who he believes should run society. Frankly, Wonder Woman is psychological propaganda for the new type of woman who I believe should rule the world, Marston wrote. In a 1943 issue of the American Scholar, Marston wrote, "Not even girls want to be girls, so long as our feminine archetype lacks force, strength and power. Not wanting to be girls, they don't want to be tender, submissive, peace-loving as good women are. Women's strong qualities have become despised because of their weakness. The obvious remedy is to create a feminine character with all the strength of Superman, plus all the allure of a good and beautiful woman."
Yeah. He has to be hot as well.
You know what women need to be? They need to be men. T. William Masterson. Masterson was an outspoken feminist. Outspoken feminist, polyamorist, and a firm believer in getting his end away. The superiority of women. He described bondage and submission as a respectable and noble practice. Marston wrote in a weakness for Wonder Woman, which was attached to a fictional stipulation that he dubbed Aphrodite's Law, that made the chaining of her bracelets of submission together by a man take away her Amazonian super strength. The only hope for peace is to teach people who are full of pep and unbound for... God, those people full of pep. They are just evil, aren't they?
You can't trust the Peppers.
You can't trust those guys that are full of pep and unbound force to enjoy being bound. Only when the control of... What's that, Tom?
Is that Pepto-Bismol?
Yes, Tom.
Oh, well, he tried.
Breaking up there. You need a reboot.
Is my sound again?
Have you had the red...
you're right then.
Is it happening again?
Have you had the red...
Yes, unfortunately.
Alright, I'll start again.
No,
you're all right now,
Dom. You're right now.
Oh, okay.
Hey, welcome back, Dom. Nice to hear from you again.
Yeah.
Welcome to 14 Words. We're talking about John Marston, the character from Red Dead Redemption.
I don't think we are.
See, I have been paying attention. Yeah, well, what about all that stuff about Dennis Taylor, the snooker player?
He invented pedigree bitter as well, didn't he, Marston?
Really?
Oh, I don't think Marston would have done that because he was all against people who were full of pep, weren't he?
Now you two are here. Can I just ask you? This is a very Fortean subject, actually. The most common name in the United Kingdom is John Smith. There's nearly 500,000 of them. And never in my life have I met a John Smith. I thought I knew one, but actually his name's James Smith. So
I work with one. I work with one, yeah.
You know John
my
Smith?
current job. I do. I work with one, yes. So,
Yeah. All right.
and that's just at the
Was that
moment,
Labour
so-
leader?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Labour leader. There's another one. Yeah.
Well, I've never met a John Smith, and I just thought, like, maybe they exist somewhere else.
Have you met a John Thomas?
No.
No.
That's the one that just keeps getting in my head. It's just like, how is it that there's so many John Smiths around?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why whenever I meet
John
someone
Smiths,
called
two
John,
at a time.
well,
I thought it was Mohammed. I thought Mohammed was the most popular name.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it
the
is
five,
amongst-
when you add all
Yeah.
the 5 different spellings up. Isn't it?
These days. Anyway.
Anyway, he was
carry it.
waffling
Carry
on
it.
some more. So he said, only when the control of self by others is more pleasant than the unbound assertion of self in human relationships can we hope for a stable, peaceful human society. There you go.
He liked ball kicking, that kind of thing.
He probably did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was having it away with 2 women because he had Elizabeth and Olive. I don't know if it was Olive from On the Buses, probably.
Well, actually, she was actually in real life. She was an attractive woman, Olive from On the Buses. She just used to, downplay her looks for that part. But
a bit like
her and Wendy Richards were both beauty contestant women.
Oh,
in
you
the
can
60s.
see Wendy Richards looks gorgeous. I mean,
She was nice in IUB. Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so nice. Not so nice when she was Pauline, was she? But
that cardigan didn't do it
too.
for me, Ian. I've got to say.
No. Yeah.
Well, the perpetual frown that everybody in Watford Square has is just.
So anyway,
no wonder she was.
After all that bollocks that William Moulton Marston was talking, initially Wonder Woman was an Amazonian. So this is his period of writing. Initially, Wonder Woman was an Amazonian champion who wins the right to return Steve Trevor, a United States intelligence officer whose plane had crashed on the Amazon's isolated island homeland, to man's world to fight crime and the evil of the Nazis. During this period, Wonder Woman joined the Justice Society of America as the team's secretary.
That's not bad.
Okay.
A career, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
a good job. Exactly. Go to typing college and get yourself a skill.
So what's disc theory then?
So powers
This is
through
what
the
you
glass
were
ceiling.
She was probably one of the ones, a boring-looking secretary who had her hair tied back with glasses, and then she took them off and let her hair down and unbuttoned a few buttons on her blouse.
She just pulls out the one bobby pin and shakes her hair.
Yeah,
It's
she
just
was
one
absolutely
bobby pin
stunning.
holding the whole thing together.
She was hot.
Was Jihadi John?
Yeah, that sounds good. What?
Was Jihadi John?
What are you saying?
Smith. That's what God of Pig, King of Dogs says. He says Jihadi John.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, could be. It's one we'll look into.
Yeah. Hobbit, did you want to do your bit? Did you want to nerd out?
Systolic blood pressure and the thing about Dennis Taylor. Fuck's sake, sorry. Pardon the French,
what
YouTube.
the hell has gone on? You're obsessed with Dennis Taylor at the moment.
I just... Something about the glasses. It's...
Have you not heard of the Irish Brogue?
Oh, yeah, Brogues, yeah. Oxford's over Brogues. Yeah, Oxford's over Brogues. So, systolic blood pressure. Systolic blood pressure test. Blood pressure is a measure of circulating blood against the walls of blood vessels.
What William Moulton Marston found, discovered, created, invented? What?
So
what's
the
there?
systolic blood pressure thing,
Mm.
because you got systoles in your heart,
Yeah.
and just to remind everybody, to remind myself, the systole is the part of the cardiac cycle during which some chambers of the heart contract after refilling with blood. Its contrasting phase is the diastole, the relaxed phase of the cardiac cycle where the chambers of the heart are refilling with blood. I mean, like, does a heart compare to maybe a two-stroke engine? Because it seems to do like two contractions, and the heart is
it's
like
a pump, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like it's four chambers. So you got deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood, and then you got one that goes. It's very strange, but I mean it works. Electrical waves tracker systole. Contraction in the heart. But
How
anyway,
does it work? I don't know, but it does.
I really don't know, but it does. It is a miracle of engineering. Atrial fibrillation.
Just
I
remember,
want to read about
it all happened completely randomly by accident.
Yeah, that series of networking pipes. Like I've seen engines which look simpler than that. So he was the creator of the systolic blood pressure test, right? So if I go blood pressure test, maybe I'll get to read about it.
I don't even know what article we're reading from.
Well, I'm trying to read about blood pressure, you see.
Systolic blood pressure.
All right,
Yeah,
he's
I want to see about
blood pressure test.
Mr.
He's on a
Marston.
tangent, is he? All right.
Yeah, he's
yeah, the related
Wood wosing.
Yeah.
You know, the wood woses. I've typed in Marston in the article about blood pressure. Nothing in there. There's plenty of graphs.
He's a very difficult man to find information on. It's really weird. It's like he was like CIA or something because he just vanished.
Marston's gives you a terrible hangover.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a nice drop, actually. I quite like Marston's.
Which one? Pedigree?
Yeah, it's not bad. Marston's Pedigree, yeah. So it's a nice
John
drop.
Smith's is good for mainstream.
There's another John Smith's for you. John Smith's Yorkshire
Bitter. Carlsberg buy him, or the other way around?
Yeah.
There you go, Hobbit. John Smith's Yorkshire Bitter. There's a John Smith's I'm sure you've met, from what I've heard about your drinking.
I'm quite fond of that John Smith.
Yeah. You've met John Smith plenty of times.
Yeah.
Isn't it on tap though? It's not hand pump, is it? It's like
I've had it in tins before, but sure.
Nice.
So unfortunately, he invented the systolic blood pressure thing, but nothing about that in the Wikipedia.
Hobgoblin's Marston's. Did you know that?
Wait,
I didn't know, but it's a nice drop.
No, that's Witchwood Brewery, unless Witchwood Brewery has been bought out by Marston's.
It must have been bought out. What is it? Carlsberg owned Marston bought out. Either Carlsberg bought Marston's or Marston's bought Carlsberg. I don't know which way around it was.
They're all buying each other, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is the Witchwood Brewery did quite well because like that was a thing that they apparently when David Cameron handed a crate of Hobgoblin and other Witchwood beers to Barack Obama, there was increased interest in exporting it in the United States.
Oh, they do Eagle banana bread beer now.
Oh, great.
It was vile.
Yeah.
Do you not like banana bread beer?
I don't like. Well, I like bananas. I'm not sure I'd like a banana beer.
Do you like bananas? Do you like beer? We'll try our banana beer.
No, I'm not really a fruity beer fan.
Oh shit! They do Lancaster Bomber. That sounds like a good one, doesn't it? Goes down well in Dresden, one, doesn't
it?
I would go down.
Well, is it's Samuel Smith's. They make
directors as well as Marston's now. That used to be courage.
I got director's bitter coming out my taps. I got it coming out my taps. Director's bitter. Yeah, that's what Alan Partridge said. He's so fond of it.
Oh, is he? McEwen's as well. McEwen's Export. Do you remember that?
I didn't think they did that anymore.
Marston's do it now. They must have bought up a load of old beers.
I used to drink McEwen's in the late 80s because you could get it in. You used to, just used to buy it in cans and get quite.
I don't see
pissed on it.
Hofmeister anymore.
Yeah.
No,
Either,
that
do
was
you?
you.
Oh, if you go on
Or
Marston's
Casamine
website, you can
Flora.
buy Marston's wine
Oh,
shirts.
It's not bad.
Marston's
No,
hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marston's owns it, and in 2020 they merged with Carlsberg Marston's.
Oh, you can buy Marston's Christmas jumper if you get in now. £20.
I've got a Marston's.
Aftercost.
I got Marston's pedigree polo shirt, 2 for a tenner. So that's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm cheap. I'm cheap with my money, so I buy stuff like that.
What was that? I thought that
It's
was
tight.
Marston's. I drank. No, it was Green King. I think Icebreaker. That was a nice pint I had the other week.
I
Yeah.
had some Budvar for my birthday. I like that beer.
Oh, happy birthday, Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the big
Icebreaker.
4-0.
That was
Yeah.
nice. That was one of those citrus puffy IPAs. That was quite nice. That was.
Yeah. From tap. I don't know. I'm not fond of these new IPAs you get in these trendy pubs.
No.
Elvis Stewart one.
I had one last week. It wasn't. I wasn't too
Fucking
keen
hell.
on it.
If you buy Icebreaker from their website, 6 bottles for £13.80.
Bargain.
500ml bottles, only 6. That's ridiculous.
Oh. That's the trouble with these trendy beers, isn't it? You got to pay to the nose.
Yeah.
Tesco's you can get 15 cans of Heineken for 12 quid club card price. That's not bad, is it?
No, that's not bad.
Oh, I didn't know this. Which would they brewed beers exclusively for Lidl using the name Hatherwood Brewery. Yeah. So Witchwood and Lidl. Witchwood.
Oh.
Hatherwood.
Do you know Green King owns Speckled Hen now?
Well,
no.
I'm sad to say that the Witchwood Brewery has been closed in 2023. So.
And
what do they do?
And Ringwood as well.
What do they do then? Buy the recipe.
I suppose they just brew it in Burton upon Trent along with everything else because apparently people can't get enough of that really minerally water.
It's quite hard water, isn't it?
That looks nice. There's a beer called Old Midnight Hen. Looks like it could be a stout.
I'm not saying you can't make a decent beer with hard water, but you can't make lager with it.
Percentage is 4.2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old Crafty Hen. I drank one of mine the other night. I bought two in the special bottle and drank one. Blimey, that's some heady stuff. That is that Old Crafty Hen.
Yeah, there's a strong ones. We
really enjoyed Golden Champion, which is made in Blandford Forum, and I went to the brewery because it's not far from where my dad lives. I can't stomach it now. There's something about hops which I find really horrible, and I like bitters.
Green King owned Riddles County now as well. Ian. Do you remember Riddles County?
Yeah.
There was Riddles County.
Not
what was the other Riddles? It was Riddles County, and I can't remember what the other one was called.
Riddles Best Bitter, maybe.
Best, yeah. I'm just saying the best. Yeah.
Hobbit though, you strike me as an ale and pipe man.
I prefer cider over ale. I mean, I do like it.
A cider and pipe to go with your pipe.
Hook Norton Ale's good. That's a nice one.
Yeah.
Did you know that hops are a close relative of cannabis?
Yes.
And when beers are bottled, if they're in brown bottles, they're from but if green bottles, they're not. So they take on that skunky taste because the hops have gone off.
Green bottles? Oh, so if
they don't, they don't protect from sunlight as well as bottles do.
Big anti-cannabis are trying to shut them up.
That's it. Yeah, they don't want them to know about like green glass doesn't protect the delicate hops from. Maybe that's why.
I thought they put
But then again,
specific beers in specific coloured bottles because they all have different properties. Like lagers,
I never
like
knew.
lagers go into green bottles, and ales and beers go into brown bottles.
Brown bottle.
But I don't know why
the
Nuki Brown
superheat-
goes in a clear bottle.
I guess it doesn't
Wow.
go off.
Well, maybe because it's already sort of off tasting anyway.
It is a
doesn't
bit
make
weird
difference.
tasting, isn't it, Nuki Brown? I've never been I don't know. I think I used to drink it quite a bit, but I don't think I ever drank it for the taste.
It's a student
Geordie
thing, isn't
swear
it?
by it. Yeah.
I
Geordies swear by
was
it,
a
don't they?
student when I last drank it, so yeah, I think you're right.
And you're supposed to drink it in a half-pint glass and keep topping it up. Not drink the whole thing and then pour yourself another glass. You're supposed to drink some of the top of the glass and then just top it up like that for some reason.
Oh.
Well, speaking
the
of
technique.
the Fortean customs around beer drinking. So, in order to discourage alcoholism in Japan, they've come up with this new beer glass, and it looks like a egg timer. You know, the one with sand going through the thin neck. And the idea is that it takes a while for like beer to trickle out the thin neck. And all I can think of when looking at that is it's going to snap when you're cleaning it. Also, it's
you're
going
not
to be a
be able to
pain in
clean
the
the
ass.
bottom of it, are you?
Yeah.
It's going to go
Also,
off.
the one night you decide to talk about beer is the one night I haven't got any.
It's the one night
I
before
would
old
drink a
Dom's
beer
teetotal.
I tell you what, I too will be teetotal in solidarity with you.
I've had one
Thanks.
Guinness. I've had one Guinness, and I think that'll do me. So we'll all be,
Because I've got a stack.
in sympathy with you, Dom.
You've got
Yes.
a stack of Heineken by the side of me, so that's going down nicely.
You didn't pick up the 0% by accident, did you, Ian?
You must be joking. I'm not that stupid.
Can anybody
You
explain
think
the
they do
40
0%
case
Captain
of...
Morgan now? You can buy Captain Morgan.
They do 0% everything. And it's not cheap
not
either.
just that.
They do gin.
You can get, I was going to say, you can get zero alcohol gin. It's like, so it's flat tonic water, but it costs the same as normal gin. The only one I bought at 0% because I was intrigued by it is in France they do zero alcohol pastis, and it tastes like it minus the.
No, you
know,
like the
the strong-
Kopparberg, didn't you?
Yes, I like the Kopparberg, but that's a cider which doesn't taste strong to begin with. But imagine
Yeah.
you got like a strong spirit, but it's no alcohol in it. And that's the other thing. Pastis has got all these essential oils in it, and then when you combine the liqueur with water, it dilutes and becomes opaque. Well, this non-alcoholic stuff doesn't do it. So in order to make your drink opaque, they have safflower extract in it.
Nice.
Mm.
They
Why
had-
not just have a
England-
cup of tea if you're not drinking?
Yeah. When England
I-
were in the Euro final, when England were in the World Cup final, whatever final, they were in the other month when they lost. I was working that night, and someone brought some non-alcoholic lager in. I think it was Moretti actually. It was like fucking piss.
I decided to
drink-
do it.
The only decent
Oh,
one was
well,
Adnam's Ghost Ship is a nice. Not if you're not drinking.
Yeah.
If you're not dry.
Sam
if you're
Smith
dry.
don't
does
believe you.
a brown ale that's non-alcoholic, and that's very good. The problem with most non-alcoholic beers is, in order to do it, they get the wort like you normally do for making a brew, and then as soon as it starts to ferment, they kill it by cooking it to about 90 degrees. And I think that's why it smells like a fart, because you basically, when you open up, you smell dead yeast.
Yeah.
Mm.
Minus the alcohol flavour to mask it. It's just, yeah, it's skunky.
Right.
And
so,
pointless.
So was William Moulton Marston? Was he the father of the polygraph, or was he the father of beer?
he was the father of the hops brewing process because we've got as much information about that as systolic blood pressure.
So you
I mean,
haven't
he
managed to
invented
find
it,
anything
but
in Hobbit.
no, well, that's the thing that's really annoying. I mean, I'm looking at the William Marston thing, and he invented it, but it's like there's not even a citation for that.
It's weird,
It's like,
isn't it?
hang on.
It's weird that they say this stuff and then they don't follow it up.
I mean, at least with Sir Joseph Paxton, we have citations for the Cavendish banana and the glass plane floating process and all the other things. Crystal
and he
Palace.
invented wanking. He invented wanking. That's why it's called masturbation.
Oh, I thought you meant Sir Joseph Paxton. I don't remember.
No, William Marston. Okay, go on.
No, that's it. That's all I've got to say on the matter. He invented blood pressure. Anyway, moving on. Over to you, Dom, Ian, Hemi.
Oh, I think I found one for you, Robert. Try this article. I'll put it in the more section.
In the more section.
A brief history of the lie detector.
I'd like to have
that might do
it. You want me to read that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I was trying to be subtle about it, but sure. Where is this? Fortean Mags? No.
At the very
Fairies
top,
the Revenge?
There's one called More.
Oh, more events. Yeah. Right, there we go.
I just start a new channel, so I can't put any more in because that's got 50 in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so brief history of the lie detector. Let's see if it is brief. So it's got a bunch of knobs and dials.
Because Hobbit needs a poo, obviously. And, that's what he was being subtle about.
Yes, I need a poo, everybody! Right, so when Wonder Woman deftly ensnares someone in a golden lariat... no idea what that is. Oh, creating the
word for a lasso.
Yeah.
Lasso?
She can compel the person... Lasso, potato. She can compel the person to speak the absolute truth. It's a handy tool for battling evil supervillains. Had the lasso of truth been an actual piece of technology, please take nobody online to borrow it.
It can't be
deep for much of the past century. Psychologists, crime experts, and others have searched in vain for the Arthur C. Clarke thing about technology and magic and stuff.
Yeah.
And others have searched in vain for an infallible lie detector. Some thought they discovered it with a polygraph machine. A medical device for recording a patient's vital signs, pulse, blood pressure, temperature, breathing rate. The polygraph was designed to help diagnose cardiac anomalies.
Skin response, didn't they, to it?
Yeah, because people tend to sweat when they're nervous. The polygraph was a concatenation of several instruments. Yeah, okay.
It's easy for you to say.
It's one of those made-up Yankee
like a made-up word.
It's one of those made-up Yankee words like copacetic. It's not real.
Burglarized.
Or or real estate, realtor.
Realtor.
Trash can.
Real, yeah. Sidewalk.
I beat me to it.
Faucet. The polygraph was designed to help diagnose cardiac anomalies in one patient. Polygraph, invented by British cardiologist James Mackenzie. So not John Marston. Fuck you very much.
William.
Excuse my French.
Bill Marston.
That measured. Oh yeah. Sorry, John Marston. Somebody else. Yeah. The polygraphs. We said that. Anyway, that measured arterial and venous pulse and plotted them as continuous lines on paper. The Grass Instrument Co. of Massachusetts, maker of the 1960 polygraph machine pictured above. Also sold equipment for monitoring EEGs, epilepsy, and sleep. The leap from medical device to interrogation tool is a curious one, as historian Keith Alder described in the 2007 book The Lie Detector History of an American Obsession. Well before the polygraph's invention, scientists had tried to link vital signs with emotions. As early as 1858, French psychologist Etienne Jules Marie recorded body... Physiologist,
You said psychologist.
As a response to uncomfortable stressors, including nausea and sharp noises. In the 1890s, Italian criminologist Cesare Lombroso used a specialized glove to measure criminal suspect blood pressure during interrogation.
Yeah, he told him to bend over and then just snap the rubber glove. And then they started telling the truth. It was weird.
Lombroso believed that criminals constituted a
Lambrini.
distinct lower race. Lombroso, he believed that criminals, not to be confused with Lamborghini, criminals constitute a distinct lower race, and his glove was one way he tried to vote. Well, yeah, you know, that's Italians. Oh, yeah, because Southern Italians are not Northern Italians. I think I can understand why he'd say that. In the years leading up to World War One, Harvard
was he being rather nasty towards the Sicilians? Is that what you're saying, Hobbit?
Yeah, but also Southern Italians are distinctly different from Northern Italians.
Yeah.
So, World War One, Harvard psychologist Hugo Münsterberg used a variety of instruments, including the polygraph, to record and analyze subjective feelings. Münsterberg argued for the machine's application to criminal law.
How do you analyse objective feelings?
Well, you know, that's psychology's always trying to say, no, we're a real science. That's why our manual's called the Diagnostic Statistical Manuals.
No, here we go. He gets mentioned.
Right. So now, after receiving his BA 1950, Münsterberg, as an undergrad. Here we go. Münsterberg, seeking both scientific impartiality and conclusiveness. As an undergraduate, William Moulton Marston worked in Münsterberg's lab and was captivated by his vision. You know, it keep you away from doing the lobotomies, I guess.
Yeah.
After receiving his BA in 1950, Bachelor of Arts, Marston decided to continue at Harvard, pursuing both a law degree and a PhD in psychology, which he saw as complementary fields. He invented a systolic blood pressure cuff, and with his wife, Elizabeth Holloway Marston, used the device to investigate the links between vital signs and emotions. In tests on fellow students, he reported a 96% success rate in detecting liars.
Ooh.
Waterwall proved to be a fine time in research in the arts of deception. Robert Mearns Yerkes, also a PhD in psychology
Where the
from
fucking hell does that name come from? Mearns Yerkes. I am Mearns Yerkes.
Robert Mearns Yerkes. I think Yerkes actually might be an old Celtic name, or anyway. And went on to develop intelligence tests for the US Army, agreed to sponsor more rigorous tests of Marston's research under the aegis of the National Research, under the shield of the National Research Council.
But it doesn't detect liars, though, does it? It just detects anxiety.
Yeah. You know,
and obviously being sat down, a couple of blokes staring at you, that's not gonna give you any anxiety at all, is it?
Apparently, the trick to passing a lie detector test is if you shit yourself, it invalidates the results. So,
wouldn't they notice
when he invented it, did he realise that its main use all these years later would be on the Jeremy Kyle show as well?
This takes a dark turn in a couple of paragraphs.
Oh yeah, so Mearns Yerkes intelligence test, US Army, Aegis, National Research Council.
Yes.
In one test on 20 detainees in the Boston Municipal Court, Marston claimed 100% success rate in lie detection. Well, he would say that, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know this thing I'm trying to sell, 100% successful. But his high success rate made his supervisors suspicious, and his critics argued that interpreting polygraph results couldn't be done if the patient had shit themselves. Many people, for instance, experience higher heart rate and blood pressure when they feel nervous or stressed.
Stop it, mess with it as well.
Yeah, well, it's gonna make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Many people, for instance, experience higher heart rate and blood pressure when they feel nervous or stressed.
Might be a better idea.
Which would turn a physical reaction to a lie detector. Well, you know, we'll get a lie detector. One of us will shit ourselves, and we'll see who passes it and who gets invalidated due to shitting themselves. Marston, like Yerkes, was a racist. He claimed he could not be fully confident in results on the blacks because he thought their minds were more primitive than those of whites. Is there a citation for this? The war ended before Marston could convince other psychologists of the validity of the polygraph. Across the county in Berkeley, California, the police chief of the Prosecuting Department of Science and Data and Crime Fighting Powerhouse, Chief August Vollmer, centralised
of course the German wants to turn police work into fucking data and stats.
He wants to turn it into Frankenstein's laboratory. He created a record system with extensive cross-references for fingerprints and crime types. He compiled crime statistics, assessed the assessed how efficient policing. Yeah, that's it. How effective policing techniques are. He started an in-house training program for officers, where university faculty teaching evidentiary law, forensics, and crime scene photography. In 1916, Volumer hired the department's first chemist, and in 1919 began recruiting college graduates to become officers. He vetted all applicants with a Bachelor of Intelligence test and psychiatric exams.
Because that always works out well, getting students to become policemen.
Yeah. Well, the Stanford experiment showed us that. John Augustus Larson, a rookie cop who happened to have a PhD in physiology, read Marston's 1921 article, Physiological Possibilities of the Deception Test. There's a PDF for that if you want to read about it. Larson decided he could improve Marston's technique and began testing subjects using his own contraption, the cardiopulmonary, the heart and lung psychogram. Vollmer gave Larson free rein to test his device in hundreds of cases. Oh, so there's a rubber band around his chest, so as you're breathing, it makes that pressure sensor done. Larson established a protocol.
Springs, isn't it? From what I've seen.
Well, yeah, the pressure sensors. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, we've got quite a lot of this. Larson established protocol, yes, no questions.
It's not a brief history then, Hobbit.
Well, the Americans are fucking liars and they love the sound of their own voices. Anyway, let's get through this shit. Larson established a protocol, yes, no questions, delivered by the interrogator in a monotone to create a baseline sample. All suspects in the case will also ask the same set of questions about the case. No interrogation lasted more than a few minutes. Larson secured consent for administering the test, although he believed only guilty parties refused to participate. In all, he tested 861 subjects in 313 cases, corroborating 80% of his findings. Chief Vollmer was convinced and helped promote the polygraph through the newspaper stories. And yet, despite the Berkeley Police Department's enthusiastic support and the growing popular fascination with the lie detector, US courts are less than receptive to polygraph results as evidence. In 1922, for instance, Marston applied to be an expert witness in the case of Fry versus United States. Or it just says Fry v. United States. Because I guess versus is too fucking long for these Americans. The defendants, James Alfonso Fry, had been arrested for robbery and then confessed to the murder of Dr. R.W. Brown. Marston believed his lie detector could verify Fry's confession was false, but never got the chance. Chief Justice Walter McCoy didn't allow Marston to take the stand, claiming the lie detector was not a matter of common knowledge. The decision was upheld by the Court of Appeals with a slightly different justification that science was not widely accepted by the relevant scientific community. This became known as the Fry Standard or the General Acceptance Test, and it set the precedent for the court's acceptance of any new scientific test as evidence. Marston was no doubt disappointed, and the idea of an infallible lie detector seemed to have stuck with him. Later in life, he helped create Wonder Woman, the superheroine, because she is a woman. Clues in the name, people. The superheroine, of truth, provides.
Are you assuming her pronouns, Hobbit?
Yes, what with her name being Wonder Woman. The superheroine's lasso of truth proved far more effective at apprehending criminals and revealing their misdeeds than Marston's polygraph ever was.
To this day, polygraph results. Fucking bellend.
Yeah, thank you, the IEEE. That's the International Community of Electronics Engineers. To this day, polygraph results are not admissible in most courts. Decades after the Fry case, US Supreme Court in the United States v. Sheffer ruled that criminal defendants could not admit polygraph evidence in their defense, noting that the scientific community remains extremely polarized about the reliability of polygraph techniques. But that hasn't stopped the use of polygraphs in criminal investigation, at least in the United States.
Or in Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah. The US military...
They're 100% effective as long as you don't introduce any variable whatsoever.
It's reliable 100% of the time, 50% of the time. The US military, federal government, and other agencies have also made ample use of the polygraph in determining a person's suitability for employment and security clearances. Meanwhile, the technology of lie detection has evolved from monitoring basic vital signs to tracking brainwaves. In the 1980s, J. Peter Rosenfeld, a psychologist at Northwestern University, To invent one of the most first methods of doing so, it took advantage of a type of brain activity known as P300 that is emitted about 300 milliseconds after a person recognizes a distinct image. The idea behind Rosenfeld's P300 test was that a suspect accused, say, of theft, would have a distinct P300 response when shown an image of the stolen object, while an innocent party would not. One of the main drawbacks is finding an image associated with the crime that only the suspect would have seen. In 2002, Daniel
That's a pretty
Langeben,
big drawback, isn't it?
yeah,
I suppose
a
you
professor
can
of
show
psychiatry.
the scene of the crime.
In 2002, Daniel Langeben, a professor of psychiatry at the University of
Why do
Pennsylvania,
all these people with weird names become psychiatrists?
because they get bullied at school, began using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, to do a real...
Langle-Ben, more like Dangle-Ben.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's probably what he got bullied?
So anyway, he did real-time imaging of the brain while the subject was telling the truth and also lying. Langeben found the brain was generally more active when lying and suggested that truth-telling was the default modality for most humans, which I would say is a point of favour of humanity. Oh, thank you, editor. We really need that editorial bit there. Langeben has reported being able to correctly classify individuals' lies or truth 78% of the time.
Craig Wilson says, "Fanny for ass." What the fuck's that about?
Exactly. In 2010, the IEEE Spectrum contributing editor Mark Harris wrote about his own close encounter with an fMRI machine lie detector. It's a good read. Again, more editorializing.
Yes.
I'll keep your opinions to yourself. More recently, the power of artificial intelligence has been brought to bear in lie detection. Researchers at the University of Arizona developed the Automated Virtual Agent for Truth Assessments in Real Time, or AVATAR, for interrogating an individual via video interface. This uses AI to assess changes in the person's eyes, voice, gestures, and posture that raise flags about possible deception. According to Fast Company and CNBC, the US Department of Homeland Security has been testing Avatar at border crossings to identify
you can't
people
use a lie detector in court, but AI knows everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. Isn't it just like whenever we get new technology, people are like, oh, let's find more applications for it?
Yeah.
With a reported success rate of 60 to 75%.
It's very good at finding gay people,
time.
so maybe it's very good at finding liars as well.
Yeah. It seems to be able to tell people's race based on their skeletal structure as well, and whether they're male or female. The accuracy of human judges, by comparison, is at best 54 to 60%, according to Avatar's developers. Oh, wow, you're telling me the people that are selling this product saying it's more reliable than the competition? Well, the results for Avatar and MRI may seem promising. They also show the machines are not infallible. Both techniques compare individual results against group data sets. As with any machine learning algorithm, the data set must be diverse and represent the entire population. If the data is poor quality or incomplete, if the algorithm is biased or the sense
I don't think William Moulton Marston would want the whole of the people doing it, would he?
It's simply a more high-tech version of Marston's scientific racism. Both no citation provides that. They're saying if the data is poor quality or incomplete, or if the algorithm is biased, or the sense measure of the subject so that it don't work properly, it's simply more Marston's scientific racism. I mean,
how would the algorithm be biased?
There's no explanation as to that, and I'm thinking to myself, that's an interesting. You know what's that thing? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yeah.
Where's your extraordinary evidence to back that up? Do you have a single fact to back that up? Spectrum.ie.org/a brief history of the lie detector. That's a fucking lie. We're only halfway. We're not even halfway through this. There's only 1/3. So anyway. MRI, blah blah blah. Guess it's say that detractors may see alternative explanations of positive results, cite preponderance evidence, polygraph test no more reliable than guess what. Along the way, intentional crime reporting, Hollywood dramatizations led the public to believe lie detectors are a proven technology, and also contradictorily, the master criminals can fake the results.
Jeremy Kyle wouldn't do a lie to me.
Oh, an abridged version of this article appears in the 2019 print issue as a real-life lasso of truth. Part of a continuing series looking at photographs about the author. Alison Marsh is an associate professor of history at the University of South Carolina and co-director of the university's Ann Johnston Institute for not explaining why I think an MRI machine is a racist machine. Fuck you, Alison Marsh. You know what, Alison Marsh? I don't appreciate you as much as I appreciate Rachel Carson. How about that, Alison Marsh?
Is she worse? Is she worse than Rachel Carson?
It's accurate
No,
when it comes
she's
to
not. She
Chavs,
wishes
though,
she was
isn't it?
bad.
When it comes to Chavs on the Kyle show, it's pretty accurate. So
Yeah, I think William Milton Mowbray will be turning in his grave.
yeah.
Hobbit today at 1946. At here, I need a poo. Be right back. At here, at everyone. Be right back.
That was ages ago. He must have
So
done it in his trousers by now.
Poo update. Hobbit has gone for the poo.
He's gone there, has he?
Yeah.
In order to invalidate a lie detector test.
He's gone to shit himself just to see if it does invalidate a lie.
Is he telling the truth though? Maybe he just doesn't. He's had enough of reading the article. We need to do a test on him. Where does he get up to anyway? The guesswork.
No, he's done all that. He's done all that one. Did you want to do the man behind Wonder Woman was inspired by both suffragists and centerfolds, Ian?
Yeah, go on. Put that in the chat there because I've lost all my links, and I'll do that one. Yeah, do with
I'll put it
with the read.
I'll put it down here.
Hey, so, well, she was. That's in more, yeah.
Yeah,
She was.
Yeah, you can do the one in more, or I'll put the same one in general for you.
Oh yeah, that's good in general. General is it in general? Have a look.
For some reason, she calls him William Moulton Marstothis. I don't know why.
The man behind Wonder Woman was beside. All right, okay. Let's have a look at that.
I think this is a transcript. I think weird.
Well, it's a long one. I'm not sure. Let's have a look then.
But we've got another 50 minutes, Ian. So.
I know it's. I'm just trying to.
Just tell me when you want a break. I'll take over.
Yeah, right then. The Wonder Woman's creator had a few secrets of his own. Historian Jill Lepore describes William Moulton Marston's unusual life. Yeah, in The Secret History of Wonder Woman, originally broadcast on October 2014. So, David Banshali host. This fresh air. What the fuck? Hang on a minute. This is an interview.
Yeah,
we need someone.
Like a transcript.
Are we gonna read?
All
right. Okay. So maybe
I'll do a roll if you want. Do you want me to do a roll?
Yeah. Right. Let's role play. So there's.
Who do you want to? Do you want to be David Bianculli or Jill Lepore?
Yeah, I'll be David Bianculli. Okay. Then.
Oh no, Terry Gross. It's Terry Gross and Jill Lepore.
All right, I'll be Terry Gross. I'll start off with Terry Gross, and you be Jill Lepore. Yeah. Okay then.
David Bianculli is the host. This is Fresh Air. I'm David Bianculli. Blah 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 blah. The creator of Wonder Woman, William Moulton Marston, led a secret life with his wife and his mistress. He fathered children with each of them, and they all lived together. His vision for Wonder Woman reflected his interest in the women's suffrage movement and in Margaret Sanger, the birth control and women's rights activist. It also happened to be his mistress's aunt. Wonder Woman's
Margaret Sanger had some interesting things to say about the blacks.
Did you hear this? Margaret Sanger was the aunt of his missus, Hobbit.
Now that explains some things. Margaret Sanger described the blacks as weeds that need to be curled.
That's Margaret
Sanger
in the article. Said that, not this program. Wonder Woman's costume was inspired by his interest in erotic pin-up art.
By the way, Margaret Sanger, who described blacks as weeds, not my words, I disavow, also was the founder of Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
Nice.
The abortion queen.
All right. Okay, so the other history of Planned Parenthood and it's found that Margaret Sanger Lepore is staff writer for The New Yorker and professor of American history at Harvard. Terry Gross spoke with Jill Lepore last year, so we'll take it off from there
You
then,
do
yeah?
Terry Gross and I'll be
So my
Jill
play.
Lepore.
Okay then. Jill Lepore, welcome back to Fresh Air. Let's just start with a really obvious question for people who've never read Wonder Woman and just want to know her more as a metaphor.
Laughter.
So,
That was funny, apparently.
Yeah. Just describe Wonder Woman, the superhero character.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me. It's fun being here. Wonder Woman is an Amazon from an island of women who left ancient Greece, even though the Amazon is in South America, and they came from Greece, to escape the enslavement of men. They lived on Paradise Island and had an eternal life, and a plane crashes on their island carrying a man, and Wonder Woman's mother decides he needs to be brought back to where he came from because they can have no man on Paradise Island. So she stitches... So she stitches for Wonder
Well, there was
Woman.
no wait there. So there was no. Wait with me though. No, if there was no man on that island, just all women there, that must have got tongues wagging.
Oi. I bet they were good at plumbing on that island, weren't they?
Yeah.
So she stitches for
You
Wonder
bend.
Woman this star-spangled costume, and Wonder Woman flies in her invisible jet, and her man-captive Steve Trevor, who's a US military intelligence officer, back to the United States. This is in 1941, and comes to call herself Wonder Woman because she has superhuman powers that only Amazons have. She has bracelets that can stop bullets. She has a magic lasso, a golden lasso. Anyone she ropes has to tell the truth, and she's got the cool jet. How does she know it's cool? It's invisible.
Golden Lezo, more like if you go on that island.
Yeah.
You're all at it. Okay. Anyway. No. Okay then. Oh, no, gross. Oh, sorry. So it's just amazing to me that this character is inspired in part by Margaret Sanger and the suffragettes. And Margaret Sanger being a mother of the birth control movement, the person who came up with the term birth control. So how did the creator, William Moulton Marston, come to care first about the suffragettes?
So it turns out that Marston has mummy issues. No, that's not it. So it turns out Marston has all kinds of ties to the early progressive era, suffrage and feminist and birth control movements, a sort of uncanny number and complexity of ties. But it starts really, if you think about Wonder Woman as containing within it a great deal about the story of Marston's own life. His ties really begin when he, as a Harvard freshman in 1911, is caught up in a big controversy on campus. In the fall of 1911, the Harvard Men's League for Women's Suffrage. Oh God, they really need to sort that title out. That needs to be made snappier. So he was a male feminist. Read into that what you will.
Well, yeah, he just wanted to get his end away. Tried that, didn't he?
And he did.
Oh, I'm a feminist.
And he did. He was in a polyamorous relationship with Olive, weren't he? From on
he
the
fell for it.
buses.
Yeah,
Suffrage.
I think men. I think men and women are equal. Can I shag you now? That was his approach.
Yeah, can I have sex with you? Just in a purely feminine way. For women's suffrage, he'd have been a tranny now, wouldn't he, with a feminine penis? Invites the incredible Emmeline Pankhurst to campus to speak in Sanders Theatre. Is that before she died? So that'd be before she died under the King's Horse, or was it her that died, or her cousin?
Unless they could have wheeled a corpse in, I suppose.
Which Pankhurst died under the King's Horse? Was that Emmeline, or was it another one?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
To speak in Sanders Theatre, which is like the largest lecture hall on campus. And the Harvard Corporation is terrified. Women are not allowed to speak on campus, and they've made one exception in the past. And they say they're not going to make an exception for Emmeline Pankhurst, who is scary in the sense that she and her followers in England have been doing things like chaining themselves to the gates outside 10 Downing Street and getting arrested. They believe really that the fight for suffrage has been so many decades and gotten nowhere that any means necessary are at this point allowed. So Pankhurst is banned from speaking on campus, and this kind of big fracas across the country because people like to take pot shots at Harvard, of course. But it's also kind of hilarious that Harvard is so terrified of this tiny little woman, Emmeline Pankhurst. They prevent her from speaking on campus, and so she speaks off campus in this kind of dance hall on Brattle Street in Harvard Square. And just pay attention to that alone. There's so much in there that reappears in Wonder Woman 30 years later. Does she speak on college campuses? Does she?
I don't know. I know Ben Shapiro is not allowed to speak on campus, isn't he? Or some of them anyway.
No, is he?
He's only a little guy.
Is he a lot like Wonder Woman?
Well, he's like a right-wing Wonder Woman, isn't he?
Reappears in Wonder Woman 30 years later. When Marston recreates Wonder Woman in 1941, he's a grown man. He's a sort of prominent person at that point. Is it me, or does this woman sound a bit like Lauren from Catherine Tate?
She sounds like a bit. Yeah, she sounds like a bit of a pain in the arse.
Yeah, but one of the things that's a defining element of Wonder Woman is that if a man binds her in chains, she loses all of her Amazonian strength. And so in almost every episode of the early comics, the ones that Marston wrote, she's chained up or she's roped up. It's usually chains, and then she has to break free of these chains, and that's Marston would always say, in order to signify her emancipation from men. But those chains are a really important part of the feminist and suffrage struggles of the 1910s that Marston had a kind of front row seat for. So does that mean like empty plates are really important to Bobby Sands supporters?
I bet he had a front row seat.
They're skipping over the fact that Marston was into bondage. I skimmed over on Wikipedia.
They're kind of skating over the fact he's a dirty old perv, aren't they?
Or they're just mentioning it in a matter of fact way. It's not. They're not sort of pressing the issue, which is, I think, quite important.
Well,
anyway, okay, I'll go back to my
to the job, is he?
Well, you haven't got many lines here, but I'm back in.
Yeah.
I'll go back to my
you're
best.
Back in the room.
Back in Chris. Okay, because those women were chained up.
Yeah, because they would chain themselves. 3 women chained themselves as they got outside the White House in protest. Their suffrage parades, women would march in chains. I mean, they imported that iconography from the abolitionist campaigns of the 19th century that women had been involved in, of course, because the suffrage movement in the United States emerges out of the abolition campaign, and chains become a really important signal. And women in the wake of emancipation and in the aftermath of the Civil War really turned to the imagery of chains and enslavement and the language of enslavement to talk about the ways in which they have not yet been fully emancipated, that they are themselves slaved. For Sanger, for instance, she publishes a collection of letters from women called Motherhood in Bondage, which is all over the place. I'd say probably don't Google Motherhood in Bondage. I'd say don't do that if you can find those letters.
Well, clear your search history after you do that.
do it in private browser before you start searching for that one.
Right click on settings, go to internet history, and if you need to know how to do it.
It's called Motherhood in
I've
Bondage.
always thought the word
Go on then.
I've always thought the word emancipation was a bit weird. It sounds like it should be like the word for when you can finally take a shit after constipation.
Which is, it's all over the place. The rhetoric and the language of enslavement. Your turn, Ian.
I bet it was all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. Okay then.
Especially after the constipation.
Exactly. Okay.
You know
However,
what they say, don't you? Constipation is a thief of time, and diarrhea waits for no man.
Yeah. And these lesbian women, you don't want to rub them up the wrong way.
No.
So, okay. However, we should acknowledge, and we'll get to this in more detail later, kind of fetishistic sexual aspect to the bondage. Well, you don't say. And the chains in Wonder Woman. We'll get to that a little later.
This guy's got some real insights, isn't he?
Yeah. So.
That's a little teaser, Terry, right there.
Who's Terry? Am I Terry?
That's you. You're Terry.
My
Gross.
first name. All right. Oh, right. I thought. Oh, yeah. I know I was gross, but I didn't know I was Terry. Yeah. That's a little teaser. That's a little teaser. Yeah.
Stay tuned. The bondage is coming up.
but this next thing is good enough to hold over us for a while.
I'm sensing some sexual tension between these two.
I mean,
I
one
sense
of the
that he's
really
desperately
amazing
trying to get his leg over and not getting anywhere.
one of the really amazing things you've uncovered in your book is that the creator of Wonder Woman, William Moulton Marston, lived in a menage a trois eventually, but earlier in his life there were two women he was with.
Is that when
There
you
was
have
his wife.
only one pint glass and 3 straws?
Yeah. There was his wife, Sadie Elizabeth Holloway, and another woman, Olive Byrne. And Olive Byrne was Margaret Sanger's niece. And so they were in a relationship together. They had 4 children by those 2 women. And of course, they didn't make it public. But describe a little bit of this arrangement that he had with these 2 women.
So, Marston married his childhood sweetheart in 1915 when they both graduated from college. He graduated from Harvard that year. She graduated from Mount Holyoke. Oh.
Hollyoaks.
This is like fucking
Did
Hollyoaks,
he?
isn't it?
I was going to say, did he download Black Pill insult ideology?
This is Sadie Elizabeth Holloway, who becomes Betty Marston. Sadie Elizabeth.
Is Olive Byrne what you? Is Olive Byrne what you get after eating too much Mediterranean food?
But ask Hobbit about that tonight.
Exactly.
Hobbit is a chemical equation for you. How does Sadie Elizabeth Holloway become Betty Marston?
Well, marriage.
And she was quite an interesting and ambitious woman, a really career-oriented woman of that generation, and one of the first generations of women to go to college. Well, that's why he was banging Olive Byrne, wasn't it? Because she was a fucking career bitch. And Marston embarks on an academic career. He first teaches at American University. American University is the best one, isn't it, Hobbit?
American University of America is the most prestigious of all organisations.
What's better, American University or England University?
Bangalore University.
Then in something of a scandal, he loses that job, and Andy ends up teaching at Tufts in 1925, where he falls in love with one of his students, who's a senior there, Olive Byrne. Nonce.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Nonce. Olive Byrne's mother is Ethel Byrne, who is the sister of Margaret Sanger. Ethel Byrne and Margaret Sanger together founded what becomes Planned Parenthood in 1916. Did you notice that, old Hobbit?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
1916.
Just imagine Margaret Sanger and Ethel Byrne laughing with their cleavers out, killing babies together. I mean, it was a gay old time, weren't it?
Now, here's the thing, right? So I'm sorry to be really ghoulish about this, but can we just briefly talk about partial birth abortion, or shall we save that?
Let's not.
Actually,
Let's
no.
we did.
Well,
no. I can summarise this, right?
There's if you really want to find out about this, you want to Google Kermit Gosnell. You know about him, Hobbit?
Oh, is that the one that had the shipping container full of baby corpses on his property?
No, but he's the one that nobody will talk about for some reason. It's really weird. No, he was the one where they had like buckets full of feet and weird shit like that.
This might be the one. So he definitely didn't have a shipping container full of.
No, the shipping container guy is different. This was like a dirty, filthy clinic, and there was like piles of dead bodies or bits of bodies everywhere. It was fucking weird.
Oh yeah. Then this guy took his work home with him for some unconscionable reason.
Hey, what are you trying to say? Kermit Gosnell's some sort of weirdo or something? You're suggesting he took his work?
I'm saying that they're like Frankenstein.
Kermit Gosnell was strictly the workstation at the office. He didn't take it home with him.
He wasn't a take it homer.
He had the work.
Maybe he was trying to play God.
Sorted.
He was playing God, perhaps, and trying to
I don't know what he's
reanimate.
going to do with all those feet. I think he was just going to make a foot baby. I'm trying to make a baby out of feet. I really don't know what he was trying to do.
Yeah,
As one does.
three-legged man.
Yeah, but we'll talk. Well, I suppose we could talk about Kermit Gosnell in a bit if you want. So they.
Funny how these people. I mean, we definitely could do more about Margaret Sanger, unless it has its own episode. She's
Well,
quite Fortean.
But yeah, and Kermit Gosnell and the shipping container guy. But it
Although
does get quite
I don't
ghoulish,
like.
doesn't it? I think it would get quite ghoulish.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable discussing baby murder.
For 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 minutes is enough.
Yeah. When they opened the first birth control clinic in the United States, birth control means killing babies.
Baby murder.
And they were immediately arrested within days after the clinic opening. An undercover policewoman comes in and asks for contraceptives. I don't know why that needs to be corrected. And Ethel Byrne explains how to use a pessary or a dye. Was it what? Do I need to know? Do I want to know what a pessary is?
Pessary, I think
it's like a donkey, isn't it?
I thought it was an old-fashioned term for an abortion agent.
Is it?
Like you take a
Google it,
pessary
find
to
out.
have a
I was thinking of a
miscarriage.
pestle.
No, it's usually some sort of poison you can take which you'll survive, but the baby won't.
So it's an IUD. It's
What, a pessary?
a pessary. Any of various devices worn in the vagina to support or correct the position. To correct the position of the uterus or rectum.
Doesn't sound right.
So,
Correct the position of the rectum.
yeah, to correct the position of the
What have
uterus
you been
or
doing
rectum.
to put it out of position? So what have you been doing to put your rectum out of position?
A pessary is a prosthetic device
did you have to
inserted
put
into
one in
the
after
vagina
that
for
poo, Hobbit?
sexual.
Did you have to put a pessary in after that?
Well, I didn't know it was called a pessary, but gold-plated stem pessary intrauterine device from 1920.
Yeah, that's one, or it's a contraceptive diaphragm or a medicated vaginal suppository.
A cap. Try wearing a cap.
Try wearing a cap. You'll hear that soon, won't you, Ian?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, pessary or a diaphragm. Ethel Byrne is convicted on obscenity charges and sent to prison for a 30-day sentence, and she goes on a hunger strike. And she says this is more important than the right to vote because women are dying every day in New York of abortions, of illegal abortions. They can't get contraception, and I will gladly give my life for this cause. As she's then actually quietly ushered off stage by Margaret Sanger, who makes a deal with the governor of New York that if Ethel Byrne will never again be involved in the birth control movement, she can be pardoned and her life will be saved. I don't think they were going to kill her for
really
it. It was a
fucking
30-day
suspicious.
sentence.
Fred West could carry out abortions, so he claimed.
Yeah, he kind of lost the kneecaps while he was doing it, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Leo Frank practiced post-birth abortions.
There's quite
Maybe
a few
Margaret
things.
Sanger knew.
I suppose you could say that the Yorkshire Ripper did abortions as well, I suppose. Very late-term abortion.
Late-term abortion, yeah.
So, I better not laugh, otherwise I'll get that comment again, won't I?
We don't.
The guy who got offended.
The people that do Fred. Well, probably practicing his frowning in front of a mirror.
Getting pissed off with the internet.
And so Ethel Byrne really sort of disappears from the birth control movement at that point, much against her will.
Well, we all know the internet's serious business, Ian. You've got to be very annoyed by
So she
what
disappears
people say
from
on
the birth
it.
control movement at that point, much against their will, much like a baby that's aborted.
I couldn't give a shit.
Meanwhile, though, she puts a lot of hope in her daughter, whom she sends to college. She sends to Tufts with money that Margaret Sanger's new husband gives to her. So he's paying for Olive Byrne's education. Olive Byrne falls in love with Marston when he's teaching at Tufts for a year. And he, at that point, she says "and" a lot, doesn't she? And at that point, she has developed
very fond of "and."
She likes to start a sentence with "and" as well. She has developed some pretty
Have an abortion
unconventional
every time
ideas
she
about
says
sex.
and.
She's developed some pretty unconventional ideas about sex and gender that comes from his work as a psychologist, and from other kinds of proclivities that I think are unreachable to the historian.
I don't. What's funny about that? It
I
says laughter.
don't know. I really
Yeah.
don't know. He says to his wife, "You know, I've met somebody."
He's gone Japanese all of a sudden.
And
So he say.
Yeah. He says to his wife, "See, she sells. You know, I've met
At the
somebody.
seashore.
I've met somebody down at the seashore, and here's the deal: either she can come and live with us, and we will live as a threesome, or I'll leave you for her." And Holloway, who's this woman with a law degree and a master's degree, and she's working in Washington at that time.
And she does this.
She really
And this
wants,
happened.
she
And
really
have an
wants-
abortion.
She really wants to have a family, and she goes for this 6-hour walk, and she thinks it over. And if you think about the 1920s, and if you go
Oh,
back and
God.
read
Can we
magazines
just
from the-
imprison her for the using of and all the time?
I think it's more to do with the person who wrote the article.
I think this is a
It's-
transcript from an interview.
Yeah, well.
I think
Go
it
on,
might be.
speak
I
These
think it
days
might
it's
have
the
something
word
to do
so,
with-
isn't it?
I think it might have something to do with the way I'm saying "and." I am saying it quite annoyingly.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to emphasize it because of just how much she goes on about and.
It's like
And if
saying
you go
like
back and
today, though.
read magazines from the 1920s, a lot of the same magazines that we have now, the New Republic, the Nation, they all have these stories in them, every other issue. What are women to do? Can they both work and have a family? They're just like the magazines today. It's incredibly depressing to read magazines from the 1920s because the stories basically could be written today. No. And Holloway's been wondering this too. She wants to have a family.
And
She wants to have a career. Her husband now wants to have a mistress who's 10
all
years
she
younger than
she wants
is.
is to murder another baby. She's working at the Planned Parenthood. All that she wants is to murder your baby. Give it to her.
Yeah. And she decides, okay, this deal will work for me because I will keep my job. And this, her sort of deal back to Marston, at least I can reconstruct it, is, yeah, this arrangement has to work for me. She's going to raise my children. She can be your mistress, but she will raise my children. And so they decide to live together as a threesome.
Hmm.
And I will.
Well, I'm not sure
walk
that's going to work
500
out.
Miles.
Yeah, how's that going to
And
work?
I
And
will
I want to know how that works out.
Yeah. Well, okay then. So, okay, I got to get back into character.
Yeah.
So they had to keep this a secret. I mean, you couldn't really get away with that. So,
Yeah.
what was the backstory that they made up to explain Olive Brown's
It's this, yeah?
presence in the family with her children?
Yeah, it's this crazy bohemian thing, but they're living in the suburbs. They live in Rye, New York, in this big house in the suburbs. Well, they come up with a story, which actually they tell the children. The children don't know what the arrangement is either, so that's really important. They say that Olive Byrne married a guy named William Richard in 1928 when she was in Los Angeles. They were all in Hollywood briefly and had two kids in quick succession. Then he died. He'd been gassed during the war. And unfortunately, she has no pictures of him and no stories about him. And no one should really ever ask about him because it's too painful.
And
So-
the diary was written in biro.
So here they are, this unconventional family with this huge secret. But Marston is the inventor of the lie detector test and bills himself as somebody who cannot be deceived, because I guess he can find out the truth of through this, machine that he invented, and that is just so bizarre.
How dumb is this gross bloke? He made up the lie with the
I
two
think-
other women. What the? He knows He knows it's a lie. He invented the story. What the fuck is wrong with this bloke?
I think he's just trying to get more out of the interview than is actually there.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
what she's-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. I think they thought it was very funny. In a certain way, it's very funny. Like, they're putting one over on everybody. So the funniest thing of it all to me, they have this really triangular family arrangement, right? But in the 1930s, Olive Byrne takes a job as staff writer for Family Circle magazine. Ha 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 ha
Ha ha ha ha.
writing advice for housewives like Family Circle, which starts in 1932. It's a giveaway at the grocery store, and the stories she writes are sort of how to raise your children in the most conventional possible way. Ha ha ha! It's just so funny. But her stories are, they all take the same form. She's a widow with 2 children, and she needs advice about, what to decide to do.
Hemi, I hate to break this to you, but I didn't find your laugh that convincing. Could you try it again, but this time with more gusto?
Ah!
Is she staying and laughing so much because her pessary's on vibrate?
I did the laugh where I was drinking something and spat it out.
Alexa, set Pessary to do not disturb.
Oh, dear. And more of this fucking crap story. One of her kids is always lying, and she doesn't know what to do, and so she goes to see the famous psychologist William Moulton Marston, and she goes to his house. She takes the train to his house. And then she walks up the hill, and she sits with him in his study, and they tease one another, and it's very flirty, and I think they had a blast with. They were just pulling that. I mean, it's hilariously bizarre.
Someone in the chat writes, must have been a relief for the prison wardens when Sands went on hunger strike. They have a lot less shit to wash off the walls.
Oh dear, not very. Ooh. Is that
I
too
see.
soon?
So, well, he wouldn't have had much shit. He would have had much shit, though, would he? Because he wasn't eating anything.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
Oh right,
The
okay.
hunger
Right. I'm
strike.
with you.
Yeah.
I'm just losing it. I'm lost in the interview somewhere. So anyway,
Yeah.
so if you're
I
just
lost
joining
you
them,
somewhere at the 500th and.
It's like these two people have been given like Joker's laughter gas, and it's like gently like taking over their body, isn't it? It's like what is the laughter for?
Ha ha ha.
anyway, so if you're just joining us, my guess is Jill Lepore, and she's the author of The Secret History of Wonder Woman, and boy, is that history secret and interesting.
Oh, or you do. Oh,
where am I?
I was just going to say we got.
That happens. That same thing is twice.
We're 3/4 the way through the show, and I still don't know much about Wonder Woman except she's got a lasso.
Yeah. Or a lariat.
Yeah.
Oh
anyway,
yeah.
And she is also a staff writer for The New Yorker, and a professor of American history at Harvard. This is sounding familiar. Let's take a short break here, and we'll talk some more. This is Fresh Air, Sound of Music.
Sound butte. Sound butte of music. I don't want to say. Do you know what sound
of
butte is,
music.
Hobbit?
Your guess is as good as mine, mate.
Yeah.
This we're not even halfway through the interview, so what are we going to do? We can't, we're going to finish it, but we're going to finish about 2 a.m. if we try and get through the whole thing.
Shall I just do Lepore's bit?
I was going to say
I'll skim through.
it might be a 2-parter. This.
So she lived in the attic. I just think that's important. So what's that? Children.
Yeah, but most of it is Lepore's bit, so isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's back? There's someone else comes in.
I'll skim through Lepore's bits. What else is there? 3 of their children survive, and they're still around. I talked to all of them. And then the widow of the 4th child is around. I'll talk to her too. Blah, blah, blah. So I couldn't quite picture the arrangement, but the deal was to the degree that I can, satisfy everybody's curiosity. The deal is that there was a bathroom on the 2nd floor that had a bedroom on either side of it. So they were adjoining, and one bedroom was Holloway's and one bedroom was Olive Byrne's, and Marston could go from bedroom to bedroom without having to enter the hallway. So basically how it worked was they had a bathroom with a bedroom either side with a door either side of the bathroom, so they could he could jump from bed to bed.
And you do them together though? As
I don't know, they don't say about that.
One on his dick, one on his face sort of thing. And that.
The kids...
So the kids walked in.
So the kids walked in on bed, and the kid was told that Daddy was sick and Olive was making him feel better.
He had cancer of the knob and he had to get this pus out.
He'd been bitten by a snake and she was sucking the poison out.
A lot of snakes in New York City.
Yeah.
But surely the two women could les it up whilst he pleasures himself whilst watching.
Yeah, Mummy's really sick
have to
and,
have
Daddy's
separate rooms.
helping her.
Yeah.
So they told the kids that Olive was the family housekeeper. They told the kids at school that if they were asked.
These kids must have been thick if they fell through all this.
Oh my God! Olive Burns' son Don married Margaret Sanger's granddaughter. What the fuck?
Mind you, Bill Wyman had a similar thing where he married Mandy Smith, and then Bill Wyman's son married Mandy Smith's mother. That's
No,
weird.
Olive Byrne married her auntie's son. No, married her auntie. Olive Byrne's son married Olive's auntie's granddaughter.
So her son was his own uncle.
On my own grandpa, as Jerry Reed would
He had to buy himself presents for his birthday and stuff. Take him.
Man's from Uncle.
Yeah.
Jeez. Can anybody figure
Just
out
take
whether
himself to the park.
it's cousin of some sort, isn't it? And it's not even far enough removed to be
Either
right,
way, it's
is it?
incest.
Hobbit, your opinion on somebody's Olive Byrne's son marrying Margaret Sanger's granddaughter, Hobbit?
That's not incestuous in the fucking slightest.
Were they in the
Olive was
travel-
Margaret's niece.
Yes,
Yeah.
They in the
Olive was
traveller
Margaret
community,
Sanger's
really.
niece, and her son married Margaret Sanger's granddaughter.
Oh,
I mean, it's not as incestuous as Albert Einstein marrying his first cousin.
I
think that was his,
But if Don, so that granddaughter's mother is Don's first cousin.
Woody Allen married his stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a blood
that's what it'd be,
relation,
wouldn't
although
it? So if
that
Olive Burns, Margaret Sanger's niece, Margaret Sanger's child would be first cousin. So he married his first cousin's
it's not
daughter.
exactly. At this point, it's not a family tree, and more a family web.
Fucking hell, you dive into that gene pool, you're going to crack your head open, aren't you?
I mean, it's like this is how you end up with babies with webbed toes.
Yeah, how
And
come no one knows what the deal
microcephaly.
is? Because
They
by
were
this time,
farmers by the sound of it.
the two women had been living together for decades. They lived together for the rest of their lives, long after Marston died in 1947. To be fair, she weren't going to go anywhere else, was she, Olive?
He died in his 50s, Mr. Marston.
No, he was born in 1890 something. Yeah, oh yes, that would be his 50s, wouldn't it? Probably all that fucking sex.
It'd have been 40s.
Died
Died
in
in
53 of
1947.
cancer.
What the
Did they
fuck?
put a
I've never heard-
polygraph on his penis?
So then they start talking about William Masterson's aunt, Carolyn Keatley, believed in the teachings of a book called The Aquarian Gospels of Jesus the Christ. That was basically a sexual book, a book in part sexual beliefs. They were all fucking weird, weren't they?
It's a surprise.
Jesus, you wonder what his parents were like. They have to have been weird to create that child, don't they?
They were probably
Didn't have
swingers.
to hub back then.
Go dogging and that.
Yeah.
Hang around a can of cheese.
Imagine old Masterson running around with his lasso of truth going, have you seen my dog? It's clear what it is, a kind of cult of female sexual power that they attended and took careful notes on. So you write the notes that there's a lot of minutes about Marston's theory of dominance and submission. Females, quote, in their relation to males, expose their bodies and use various legitimate methods of the love sphere to create in males submission to them, where the women mistresses or love leaders, in order that they, the mistresses, might submit in passion to the males. Just remember this guy here with this fucking weird family that have weird fucking sexual shit going on with their aunties. Oh no, actually, Olive's son wouldn't have been related to Margaret Sanger, would she? Because it's Elizabeth's. No, it's not. No, Olive's son. I have to actually take that back. That wasn't incestuous, but it is kind of weirdly incestuous.
I know, because Elizabeth is Olive's. What's an?
Yeah,
Elizabeth was Margaret's sister.
Sanger's niece, not Olive. So it wasn't quite incestuous, but it's kind of fucking weird considering like her kids are brother and sister, like the niece's kids are brother and sister. So it's in the same.
So I've been trying to concentrate and draw their family web, and I've ended up with an interesting geometric design with 6 points to it and 6 sides.
Yeah,
and then 6 triangles. I don't know what this means.
What else is there?
I know what the triangle means.
Well, triangle means minge, right?
In the 70s.
Wonder Woman's backstory has to do with Amazon culture. Marston's mistress, Elizabeth Holloway, and her favourite book in college. No, Marston's mistress wasn't. Marston's mistress, Elizabeth Holloway, her favourite book. No, he wasn't Marston's mistress.
These people are getting diarrhea.
Her favourite book.
Just hearing.
So her favourite book in college was a collection of Sappho's writing. And in popular culture, Sappho and Amazon culture are very, entwined with the idea of lesbian culture.
Minge eaters. That's what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's a society of minge eaters.
Women in comfortable shoes, I believe they call
it. Domestic abuse champions.
And I'm wondering if you'd see that as a kind of secret thread in Wonder Woman 2, and perhaps you write more into it than there is. I don't think that's a really good question. And here to the empiricist in me has to say I don't quite know. I mean, certainly if you read the comics, there's a whole lot of lesbianism in the comic books themselves. That's the more recent stuff. They wouldn't have been doing lesbianism in 1941.
Down with this sort of filth.
And of course, fucking Frederick Wortham rears his fucking ugly head, doesn't he?
No, who's he again?
He wrote The Seduction of the Innocent, brought in the comics code, and got rid of like horror comics.
Yeah, boring bastard.
Horror comics.
A Mary Whitehouse type figure, wasn't he?
The thing is, though, if you've read any of those old 50s horror comics, they were all parables. Maybe that's why Wortham wanted it stamped out. But Wortham, of course, thinks that Batman and Robin are lovers.
Oh dear!
Yeah.
I don't approve of that.
Yeah, bollocks.
No, I disavow that.
Yeah. Oh fucking hell! So wouldn't it? So then there's what's his name? Bianculli talking to Lepore. Oh god. Well, if you think about the problems with the comic books there, it's Marston says they're blood-curdling masculinity. That's the problem with comics.
Yeah. But
it's also the domination. It's the reason Superman looks like a fascist to some literary critics. He's some kind of demigod, but he also overpowers everybody.
Although, to be fair, Batman did take an orphan boy into his care and make him run around in spandex.
Don't you start, Wortham. Oh my god. And this is, in the shadow of what's going on in Europe. It's very terrifying to imagine kids sort of worshipping this Ubermensch.
Oh god. Oh no.
Jesus Christ.
Is that your Donald Trump?
Yeah, sort of.
It's yeah. Well, I was thinking of what's that? Don King, the boxing
it's definitely somebody
guy
from New York.
Yeah, Don King is my as we know.
The Tunnel Runners in New York. That's who it is.
Yeah, well, that he did a famous series of boxing promotions called the Tunnel Runners, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
So he gets the green light and he suggests that she be visually modelled on the Varga girls. And the Varga girls are their pin-ups. They're illustrations of very scantily clad young women in very seductive poses. So I assume the sort of thing you used to see on the side of World War II bombers. I assume it's that kind of thing.
Mm. They were dames, they were.
Yeah, dames, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to get me some dames.
So it was hard to track those down because
Broads.
I went to the stacks in the Widener Library at Harvard and pulled out all the issues of Esquire. The Varga Girls centerfolds appeared in Esquire in the 1940s, and I paged through every issue bound volume, and all the Varga Girls have been sliced out. They're very sexy pin-up girls, and the Harvard boys of the 1940s took advantage of them and brought them into their dorm rooms. Varga girls, fighter pilots, blah blah blah. They have a kind of exoticism that Wonder Woman has too. I mean, she's not supposed to be from the United States, and has that kind of piece of a piece of it, whatever the fuck that means. They're wearing skimpy costumes.
Yeah.
It's really different different feel if you think about other contemporary sort of 30s, like they're not supposed to be Rosalind Russell or Catherine Hepburn. Oh, but her image, Wonder Woman's image, was also influenced by photos and illustrations of suffragists. Did they walk around in their? Did they run around in their underpants fighting crime then? I thought they were more.
They took their
I thought they were more
bras
to do
off,
with
didn't they?
committing crime than stopping it, weren't they?
Burning their bras.
So then you look at Wonder Woman from the 1940s, you can see it's apparently the fetishism, right? You can also immediately see the fetishism that when Wonder Woman is out in those early stories that Marston wrote, she's doing things like organising working women to go on strike for equal pay with males. That sounds like a fantastic comic, doesn't it? Early Wonder Woman.
You can still buy Varga Girl pin-up prints. 20 quid from Amazon.
Oh, nice. Hopefully the Harvard lads haven't cut all the pictures out.
Jocks.
So in terms of storyline, Marston hired Joy Hummel to help write Wonder Woman, and Marston's mistress Olive gave her one book and told her to read this and you'll know how to write Wonder Woman. And that book was Margaret Sanger's
Bible.
Woman and the New Race. They probably had boxes of them in the back room or something, didn't
It
they?
all makes sense now.
Yeah. It's just...
It's all come full circle now.
Oh God! So this is just so interesting. This is just so interesting that Wonder Woman is a combination of like Varga Girl pin-up imagery in a book by Margaret Sanger and images of suffragists. It's such an interesting collection of like thoughts and the ideas of images in one superhero. Yeah, it's entangled in it too. It's a little bit kind of that puzzle of that like Lady Gaga is. Ha ha ha! You look at Lady Gaga and you're like, what do I think about her? You know, on one hand, but on the other hand, that Wonder Woman looks like that to me too. So
drunk listening to this.
It's fucking terrible. It's awful.
Like, what the hell's even going on?
Well, there's even more going on there. She has this magic lasso which connects to the fact that William Marston is Wonder Woman's creator. He also created the lie detector. Well, I think we've all noticed that one.
You know that, yes.
Hold
he lived
on,
with the two women.
So all these things that happen in Wonder Woman happen to Marston, like this, you know. Professor Toxino gets told by Dean Sourpuss he can never return to campus again, which is pretty much what happens to Marston every time he has a teaching job. Well, it's probably because he's touching up the students. That might be why.
Dean Sourpuss. Are you sure
It's-
about that's?
No,
this,
it's a character from Wonder Woman, I assume.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. It's funny how William Mar. It's funny how the dirty old man keeps getting thrown off of university campuses, isn't it? For no reason whatsoever.
Yeah,
Well, you're telling me
exposing
he's
himself or
been
something.
expelled from 109 university campuses? I didn't even know there's that many universities in America.
And none of it was his fault.
Of course not.
Those
this is just
students were asking for it, and they're of age.
Yeah, with the polygraph tests, they should know he wasn't lying.
Yeah. It became really controversial
This is
in the
very
1940s.
strange.
Wonder Woman was banned partly because she was so scantily dressed, but members of the editorial advisory board, what became DC Comics, had resigned in protest over one part of the board that DC Comics had put together resigned in protest over Wonder Woman and the bondage because guys like soldiers. That's really fascinating letter from a GI station. I don't know, maybe somewhere in Texas. Who writes to say, like, I just love these
That
Wonder Woman comics.
sounds like-
I mean, just the chains and the heels, those boots, you know. It's this,
What the
and
hell?
you're just like, while reading the
What the hell are you talking about? Soldiers don't like women in bond. What? What the? Shut up, woman!
Yeah.
Stop saying your lies.
Honestly, it goes like this. It's this laughter. You're just like shrieks while reading the letter.
And don't forget the multiple instances of the word "and."
Yeah. Oh God.
Is this like some sort of psychological torture? Like the more you read this, the more your brain goes numb and you become susceptible and start going, "Oh, the polygraph test is infallible."
This feminism sounds really great.
Yeah, more of that third wave feminism, please.
But DC Comics was really concerned, rightly so, and so they keep trying to find sort of another psychologist or luminary who can tell them is Marston right. Oh dear! So they hired this woman, Loretta Bender, who's a psychiatrist who runs the children's ward at Bellevue Hospital, and they send all the Wonder Woman comic books to her, and they say, "What do you think?" And what does she say? She says, "You know what? I love Wonder Woman."
Bollocks. Oh, she doesn't say a load of bollocks.
No, she thinks it's kind of great. I don't know if she's like, okay, Marston is
That's
a
the
kook,
wrong answer, though.
and you shouldn't believe
That
a
wasn't
word
the
he
answer
says
they were
because
looking for.
Marston writes these letters, and she's just like, whoa. But she thinks, what is this fucking language she's using?
Is this supposed to be PhD,
This is-
intelligentsia, right?
Yeah, this
Sheer
Laporte
Valley
woman.
Girl.
It's just
Yeah,
awful,
that's a
isn't it?
good point.
And we don't get too
Yeah.
concerned about Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. I mean, we understand that. Or, now we might do a literary reading of those stories and what they tell us about famine in early modern Europe or something. What? Oh, God.
Maybe add in some of that Valley Girl vocal fry. It might make more sense.
Yeah, oh, God.
Just schizophrenic babble. Is this what happens when you drink fluoridated water?
No, this is what happens when you believe your own bullshit. This is what it is.
Look, this should be like a warning we issue here at 40 Words. Huffing your own farts may be dangerous to your health and cause brain damage.
We're nearly done. Well, his widow, Elizabeth Holloway, writes this knockout letter to DC Comics in which she says, look, hire me because I know everything about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is basically a family project. We've all been participating in the creating of Wonder Woman, and I'm a
Participating in their lives.
And I'm a well-accomplished woman. You sound like it using words.
Well, Oh, hang on. Can I try that with the vocal for and
Yeah.
like ha ha ha, like well, I'm a well accomplished woman. Yeah.
That's Renee off LOLO.
I've been an editor. I know everything about
No, it's
Bill's
not,
work.
Ian.
And the guys at DC
You were good
Comics are like, we're not going to hire Holloway. It's the last thing they want to do. Of course it does. Because this woman just goes, I know what you're... No, we're like, no, we want to stop the bondage in children's comics.
What?
No,
All right,
no, that's what
okay.
I said. That was me editorializing. DC Comics are like,
Hmm.
no, love. You stay at home and look after your kids because we don't really want the bondage in kids' comics anymore. That's what DC Comics should have wrote back to her.
Oh, yeah, it would be nice if they were there, but rather than say, actually, no, we want more of this, please.
So this guy Caniger takes over, and he's told to take Holloway out to a really nice lunch and ruffle the old lady's feathers, and then he's sort of banned from she's sort of banned from coming into the office. Obviously, absolute insane.
I will do
fucking
a
harpy.
run-on sentence, and I will
What, because
do
you went out
another
for a lunch?
run-on sentence. Why does this make me think of the Proclaimers for some reason?
Just I've never heard the word "and" used so much.
And I will use 500 instances of the word and I will use
Yeah.
500 instances of the word and again.
So there you go. So his wife tried to muscle in on Wonder Woman and got told to fuck off, but very politely.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I feel...
Yeah, no, I do too. But I have two things to say. One is that when Holloway does write these letters in 1963 saying what it was like, this is the wife. She says, look, we both loved him and he loved us. Fuck. Does this woman actually talk like this? It's awful.
You see, the thing is, this is a transcript of what, because I was going to say, well, look, clearly not everything that's written down is suitable for a radio audience, but this was an actual interview, and this is the transcript of the interview.
Yeah.
So somebody did actually utter these words. These words were uttered, and at no point did the interviewer just go, I'm sorry, love, are you like a lobotomy patient? Are you retarded? Do you have special needs? Do you have someone that takes care of you? Can you wipe your own arse?
To find it actual broadcast and see what she sounds like.
Do you wear, when you choose shoes, do they have Velcro straps on them, or do you have shoelaces?
So anyway, the two old women, Elizabeth Holloway doesn't die until 1993 at the age of 100, and Olive Byrne
Utter nutter
died a few
indeed,
years
Craig
before her.
Wilson. You've nailed it on the head. Craig Wilson says utter nutter. Spot on.
Utter nutter, yeah. Shalom gentleman says Habul Kabir Farmer. Shalom. There's a lot of shaloming going on in this episode.
Shalom Shabbat.
So anyway, after all this bullshit, this Lepore's been talking. He goes, "Have you ever read them?" No, I was never a fan. I never read comic books as a kid. I was far too much of a geek to do that. Because obviously, when you're an uber geek, you don't read comics, do you?
Well, you make your own comics.
I thought it was a geek. Was it not a geek thing to do? Read comics? Didn't it go hand in hand with computer games?
I remember watching
not in the
Linda Carter
1930s.
TV show, and then watching The $6 Million Man, because I kind of had a crush on him, but I didn't know. I didn't, like my brother watched like Linda Carter and Wonder Woman. I got fascinated with the story because I'm a political historian.
You know how Sean Connery
she's a
says,
political
like,
historian, Hobbit.
You know how Sean Connery says, like, sometimes it's appropriate to slap women? This is exactly the instance that he's mentioning. Like, Sean Connery needed to be there to give her a good, solid backhander.
Yeah. Did you know that also
Well,
men age like Sean Connery and women age like Sean Connery?
In the
Women
60s, in the 60s James Bond film, he would give them a slap, though, wouldn't he? When he was interrogating
he's given
the
a few
woman.
backhander, isn't he?
Yeah, he'd give him a right good slap, and then he'd shag her after the slap. Find out, he'd
so
give
he
her a
should.
slap. She'd tell him where the missiles were being hidden, and then he'd give her one.
So, I always loved Wonder Woman. After saying that she wasn't bothered about Wonder Woman and her brother liked the show more because Linda Carter was on it, she said, God, I always loved Wonder Woman when I was a kid. I had the lunchbox. I dressed up as Wonder Woman for every Halloween. I had the doll. My brother once stole it and I had to beat him up. Like, women of my age have incredible attachment to this character. Although they know
I
nothing.
And you're
don't
supposed to
believe
dress
the
up as a
word you're
ghost.
saying.
You're supposed to dress up as a ghost for Halloween, not Wonder Woman. How does that work?
Should do.
Or a vampire?
Jill
Yeah.
Lepore,
I
thank
think
you
that
for
this
talking with
man's
us.
a
And thank you
liar.
for writing this really interesting book. That was fucking garbage. That was that.
He's being
that
sarcastic,
interview,
isn't he? There.
that interview.
No,
was
you
fucking
said that wrong.
garbage.
Gross,
I
you've
want
said
a
that
hooked
wrong,
up
though.
to a polygraph.
That last bit should have been Jill Lepore. Oh, thank you for talking with us, and thank you for writing this really interesting book.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really great. Honestly, this book is amazing. This
Yeah.
book you've written.
I'm going to dress
I
up
really
as Jill
hope
I'd just
you-
Lepore
like
on
to say that
Halloween.
Jill Lepore is the author of the best-selling book, The Secret History of Wonder Woman. I just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah.
Jill Lepore, I don't appreciate you.
Jill Lepore.
Jill Lepore's book is. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it's the best-selling book. Yeah, that's right.
Let's see if I can find a Jill
Oh.
Lepore.
Find how many copies it's
Jill
sold.
Lepore from Lahore University.
Jill Lepore, her mother's a whore. That's a Viz
She's a-
character.
Oh God, she looks awful.
Is she? And that guy was doing it.
Oh no! Oh God! I mean, Jesus Christ! You just need to just Google Jill Lepore and have a look at her.
Jill Lip.
She looks like Christopher Reeve with a bad wig on.
It's a bit like Andy Warhol.
Yeah. So let's listen to a bit of Jill Lepore
God! I'm gonna burst!
Right, let's.
Would you do that, Hobbit? Would you do it?
I'll put this through.
Oh,
to
Jill Lahore!
here we go.
Hi, good evening. Great, really great and unsung series. The man from Atlantis, he wore a yellow Speedo.
How did they manage to transcribe
So obviously,
that
I was just really not a Wonder Woman fan. It just kind of passed me by. I wasn't averse to Wonder Woman, but I didn't get the appeal of it when I was a kid. Although I talked to a lot of women my age who were...
It was like a nightmare.
Yeah, so now
Please,
you know what Jill
I'll
Lepore sounds like.
So I
I'll
was
take the polygraph just so I don't have to
What's
listen
wrong?
to her. Look, alright, I admit, Columbo, I did it. I wasn't even there at the time, and I've got alibis to say I won't, but anything so I don't have to listen to her voice anymore.
It's horrible. How did the AI manage to transcribe that interview?
Oh, God.
Sounds like she's on Valium and Lambrini.
You know,
Sounds
Alex
like Norman
Jones says
Wisdom
about
on acid.
they're not human, they're demons, and they're here. Like, I think he's onto something there.
So there you go. Jill Lepore, author of Wonder Woman, Isn't She Great? Even though she was never a big fan of it until she found out that William Moulton Marston was a pervert, and then she got right into that was her jam then.
Oh, did she start gushing when she found out what a sex pest he was?
Poor old humble cabbage farmer says, "What have I missed? I'll have a listen on the playback later."
It's painful, Cabbage Farmer. I'm sorry.
You
have been warned. And 500 times. The ands were hot and heavy and started right from the beginning.
and this.
It's hard.
Anyway,
which is what she's.
William Moulton Marston, genius or pervert?
I don't appreciate him.
Is that just because he gave Jill Lepore something to talk about?
Well, the thing is as well about that, it's like, look, your polygraph is not that special. You saw what other people were doing with monitoring blood pressure and such, and you saw,
fair, he didn't have an
people
active role in it. It's like he did his bit, and then the guy put it all together later on, didn't he? And much like the TV, the TV's quite a bit like that, isn't it? Because
it was that copperhead.
That guy from Hungary invented a bit of the TV, didn't he? But it took Logie Baird to put it all together and make an actual TV set, didn't it?
Well, the Logie Baird televisor was a different thing to Marconi and his research into it.
Well, apparently there's a Hungarian guy that like a lot of his stuff he made predates a lot of this, a lot of the TV.
Well, I don't know if we've done television before, but I mean that is a very Fortean subject because we can talk about how the cathode
breeding ignorance and radiation.
And do you know who invented the cathode ray tube thing? A society called the Golden Dawn Organization, an esoteric order, the Foulet Society. Yeah, the Golden Dawn Society invented the cathode ray tube, and it wasn't. They weren't using it to broadcast.
Something to do with Mr. Crowley, isn't it?
Well,
yeah, he got involved with them. He tried to take them over.
You see, the Golden Dawn Society, they weren't using it to transmit images. They thought they could use it as a modern scrying device. And it's only later on did the BBC and others go, hang on, we could use this to do programming. Programming is a very... Well, programming is a very deliberate choice of term. I mean, when we program a washing machine or television... when we program a washing machine or computer, that's a very specific... task, you're filling it with information to go in a certain way. So when a human being is being programmed by the television, it maybe explains why boomers all have certain opinions which aren't of their own.
Could be.
My dad likes to tell me
Logie Baird invented picnic baskets.
Yeah, my dad recently came out and told me that what's her name would make a great president.
Kamala Harris is my dad tells me what an existential threat Putin is to me, and I was just like, well, Putin never called me a
Donald Trump will destroy America if he gets in.
Yeah. Putin must be one of those far-right neo-Nazi thugs I hear so much about these days.
Yes. Cabbage Farmer said, I'll get a few tinnies and they're ready to deal with the pain then. It starts off okay, it's about the hour mark where I'd save the tinnies till about the hour mark. You don't want to sober up before the hour mark.
You might need some rubbing alcohol towards the end.
Just rubbing your temples.
Yeah, you're going to need some strong stuff with this because I can feel myself being like, I feel ill now.
Just that. Oh, it could have been worse. I could have played the interview.
You know what? That would have been an ideal time.
Or listening to the interview.
They're both pretty bad, aren't they? I mean, there's no. In defence, I'd rather listen to you saying "and" than her saying "and." And. It reminds me of that scene in the Clockwork Orange where he's screaming because they're playing Beethoven, his favourite music, and it's just like every time she's saying "and," I'm like, "What? Turn it off!"
Let's just listen to the dulcet tones of Jill Lepore once more.
Really deeply affected by watching that TV show as kids, and I take that really seriously because it meant something to them in the same way that it meant something to Gloria Steinem when she was.
If you have been affected by any of the events of tonight's 40 words, please write to BBC Points of View, Shepherd's Bush,
if you have been
PO Box.
Rubbing alcohol or jerk off crystals to cope with that interview for Hobbit.
I don't think you should mix jerk off crystals and rubbing alcohol together. But then again, it is called rubbing alcohol. So write back to us on your experiments and results.
So you got the jerk off crystal, you're getting it all nice and charged up. Then you hear Jill Lepore's voice. Like that's what happens if you like completely suck all the energy out of a jerk-off crystal like that? Is that going to cause some sort of explosive collapse?
I think you'll start getting fractures in it, and then you could get a splinter in your hand.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, probably
That's dangerous.
Don't mix jerk-off crystals and Jill-Lepore.
Here at 40 Words, we advise do not use jerk crystals whilst listening to this Rachel Carson wannabe.
Just like and. Does Rachel Carson use the word and
Such
as many
as.
times as Jill-Lepore?
Such as.
Oh, is she such as? Is that hers?
I don't know. It sounds like she's using all these like you know, empty words, ahs. Like people that do public speaking are trained not to do the empty words.
Yeah.
I think the way Donald Trump gets around it is he repeats things. Instead of saying he goes.
He says
you know,
he says about
so
the rap
huge,
singers. The
great,
rap singers, does he?
The huge, the rap singers we got, the beautiful, the big,
the
singers, black.
The rap singers,
we got
they
the best
run around
rap singers.
malls. The rap singers, they run up and down.
They're great. You know,
escalators.
our rap singers, they're the best ones in the world. They got great shoes, great guys. Some of those guys are my friends. Huge guys.
I think I'll find this actual interview.
It's painful, isn't it?
It's
Probably jerk off crystals and recordings of her voice that powered the DeLorean.
That I mean, look, I'm saying in terms of unethical power sources, chaining up a demon to electrodes is probably like a more reliable and sustainable form of energy production.
It's the fresh air. Oh, so you probably find it if you look via fresh air, I think. But have you seen Jill-Lepore and the subject she talks about? Jill-Lepore. Short-term thinking is politics' most epic failure. Oh God, a conversation with Bob Schaefer and Jill-Lepore.
That's an important one for the ages.
Yeah, Jill-Lepore.
That must have been a bestseller.
Jill-Lepore on traveling through time. Oh God.
Aren't these bestsellers basically the publisher buys up a certain amount of books and then you get like, oh, you're now on the New York Times bestseller list?
Jill-Lepore, Jane Franklin's Spectacles.
Okay.
Did you know on these truths by Jill-Lepore, 2019 finalist for the Cunt Hill History Prize? Did you know that's an actual thing? The Cunt
Hill History Prize.
It says Cunt Hill, but I'm pretty sure it's a typo.
A hill full of cunts.
Jill-Lepore on Charlie Chan. I bet she's not happy about Charlie Chan, is she?
Well, that was Yellowface, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a Mexican.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I've watched a few episodes of Batman and I'm just reminded of how like the Japanese in it are suspiciously Mexican looking.
The little yellow devils.
I guess in the 1930s, inclusion and diversity training wasn't. The 1940s, sorry, wasn't very apparent. Oh, well, what can you do, eh?
Oh, do you want to listen to a conversation on COVID-19 with Jill-Lepore?
Oh, that actually sounds proper hard-hitting Fortean science.
Jill-Lepore,
yes,
the
please.
birth and future of data mining and voter manipulation.
Oh, now here we're going to hear the truth, lads.
Civil War Confederate president wasn't tried. Why it matters in the Trump case.
Yeah. Good stuff, eh?
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't like Trump, does she?
Amazing.
Yes.
I would have thought she would be like, really for him. It's like, well, I like our democratically elected government.
I bet she liked holidays to Little St. James Island.
Oh,
She probably did.
I'd say she liked holidays to Lesbos.
she definitely likes holidays to Lesbos, don't she?
You're saying she goes and visits Little Jane Island instead?
A Little Jane Island.
Yeah.
HLS in the arts. What the fuck is HLS?
HLS.
Harvard Law School. They got her in for the book festival.
Yeah.
Unseen: The History of Privacy. Jill Lepore.
I like it.
Jill Lepore on liberty, slavery, and conspiracy in Manhattan in the 18th century.
Jill Lepore, the whore next door.
Jill Lepore. Oh, Iron Man episode.
If she was, she wouldn't.
So, Iron Man episode 3, Elon Musk, the evening rocket with Jill Lepore. Do you think she'll be pro or anti Elon Musk?
Oh, anti, definitely.
Yeah, because Elon Musk has been shown like how he publicly supports Donald Trump, and did you know he's literally Hitler, Cheeto Hitler?
He's literally Goebbels, isn't he? Elon Musk is.
Is he? Oh, I thought they didn't go beyond saying he's someone's literally Hitler.
Reading the US Constitution
because Trump's
Jill
Hitler.
Lepore, that'd be interesting. Oh, did you want to watch Hobbit? This sounds like one for you. It came from outer space. Jill Lepore, The Last Archive. A fake moon landing, astronauts carrying space pathogens back to Earth, Michael Crichton's Andromeda strain. Do you want Jill Lepore's thoughts on the Andromeda strain of it?
I bet she has the best takes on one of my favourite stories.
It's her or it's her or a Despot of Antrim. I think she's got the edge.
She's had a take on everything, hasn't she?
A hammer to the balls.
Yeah. I'll put it in there for you, Hobbit, so you can watch it.
Oh, mate, I'm going to be watching that with my pants down.
I'm going to watch the fucking shit out of that.
I'm going to watch this so fucking hard.
Who Killed Truth? A conversation with Jill Lepore. Did Trump...
No, it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Trump Killed Truth? Is that the answer?
Oh, I thought like it was a sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Apparently the book is quite a bit different to Roger Rabbit, isn't it?
Never read it.
Apparently it sounds quite interesting. The proper story does.
Is there an audio book of it? Because I can't read.
I'll tell you what it's called. Roger.
No, some in the audience. Yeah, some in the audience might say, "But Hobbit, weren't you reading that thing about the polygraph and John Marston earlier?" And it's like, no,
yeah,
I only pretended to read.
Censored Roger Rabbit is the book by Gary.
You know what? Let me see if Audible has it. We're not sponsored, by the way. Audible.
No, we're not sponsored by Manscaped.
Yeah, it's actually Roger that's murdered him.
Who censored Roger Rabbit by Gary K. Wolfe?
Yeah.
And it's there available on audible.com.
But spoilers, Roger's murdered in the book.
Oh, well, why would I even want to watch it now? Listen to it.
Well, it's not spoilers, is it?
And
it opens.
I think
the policeman did it in Mousetrap, so there.
Huh? What, you mean the game?
The play. Huh?
Is that the game where like you like roll the dice to see how far you get in the Mousetrap?
But also, it's the longest running play in the West End, and the Agatha Christie murder, and you're not supposed to tell people who does the murder. But I've seen it, and it's the policeman. So there.
Oh, it's quite short. It's 7 hours and 36 minutes. So yeah, I think I'll listen to that. Thanks for the recommendation.
Oh yeah. Oh shit! There's a sequel to it as well. Who plugged Roger Rabbit?
Not as opposed to Who Pegged Roger Rabbit. I mean, that would be pretty short. It's like, there's Jessica Rabbit.
I know you do it to a guy though, don't you?
Well, Jessica Rabbit loves Roger Rabbit very, very much.
Jessica Rabbit would have pegged Roger
basically,
Rabbit.
who
Wouldn't have pegged him
Roger
for that.
Rabbit is like a reboot.
Who picked up a penguin?
Yeah. Oh, did you know there's a Who Framed Roger Rabbit computer game, Hobbit, that was on the PC in 1988?
1988. That's going to be very basic, isn't it?
PC and NES,
for the-
so the Nintendo Entertainment System. Hair-Raising Havoc was
Atari.
released in 1991.
It'll be a shit
That's an
platformer.
Amiga side-scroller, and then Who Framed Roger Rabbit was
Yeah,
on the Game
it's
Boy in
8-bit
1991.
graphics if it's on the NES,
Yeah,
or Famicom as they called it in Japanland.
yeah. But you could get an Amiga and MS-DOS for one called Hair-Raising Havoc that came out in 1991.
Quite, yes. So, now we are over this ordeal, what have we learnt about Mr. Marston, whose name is not John Marston?
It was a wrong and a
He's not-
pervert.
You
He's a
think
dirty
he
bastard.
paid
He made
those
all right
boys?
beer.
Yeah.
Humble Cabbage Farmer comes up with a good point. Like, with all of Jill Lepore's and and all that, was she trying to cover up from Jerry Nadler shitting himself?
I think that was quite likely the case. You know what? You've nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
The thing is, I was looking at. I was trying to read about Mr. Marston's death, and I couldn't find anything. Do you think he died whilst
No.
having a heart attack whilst he
God.
was
He had
trying to
cancer.
take off a bra using his teeth?
He had polio, then he had cancer a few years later and died from that.
God, what a sickly individual!
Okay.
Yeah, that's rubbish.
Did you not find
In the
out,
days when he got polio.
Did you not find about?
No, wait, wow, he died by being pegged to death by his wife whilst trying to unstrap a bra.
He
Could
got.
be.
He
Let's
was
have
a
look, see if we can
smoker.
Find out about his death.
By sounding.
Yep, that's it.
Death. Here we go. William Old Marston died of
His
cancer.
arsehole was the size of a dinner plate.
He died of cancer.
He died like Mike. He died wanking
Cancer
like
of
Michael
prolapse.
Hutchins.
Yeah.
He died on the. He hung himself on a hotel door in Sydney.
Or wanking.
They say his ringpiece resembled one of those inflatable chair balloon things. That looks like a ring donut.
Oh, that's gross.
His wife buried him with his favourite traffic cone.
Makes sense.
Yep. God, what a seedy individual.
What a
Cool
disgusting,
guy,
dirty,
but he got away
filthy
with
man.
it.
They tried to peddle fucking BDSM to kids as well.
I mean, there he is, like putting a lie detector thing on it. So his wife saying, "Do you like this?" And he'd be like, "No, don't lie to me."
Yeah.
Well, at least he died doing what he loved, which was being an absolute pervert.
Yeah.
He lived his life like a candle in the wind, or a candle up his arsehole. One of the two.
He was just participating in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, but fair play to him pushing that on his missus though.
Well, I think she was the one doing the pushing.
Oh, Hobbit! We missed out quite a bit from Nostradamus. Did Nostradamus ever predict Jerry Nadler shitting himself?
Do you know what? I reckon in one of those things they will be talking about an ill and ominous wind. A deluge of soil.
And lo, the Pelosi will choke upon the. I don't know. I can't think.
Yeah.
Right, are we done?
Well, the name's. I think we're pretty much done, aren't we?
I think
Well, it's
we're
quite
grinding. I think we're
comprehensive
grinding
tonight.
gears now. I think we like that bit in Aliens. Where Hicks goes, look, can you just stop driving now? You just
Game over,
grinding
man.
gears, love. There's a dead alien underneath, and it's right in the bottom of the fucking APC, and it's fucked.
Game over, man. Game over.
Game over, man. And also, stay
Game over.
spooky.
Yeah, but not John Marston spooky.
Yeah,
Get
that's
his
just
name
weird.
wrong.
Don't cover your wife and your mistress in ectoplasm on the same night.
Yeah.